Last session was the start of Sunday, I think. Sunday the 19th, I think it is in game. Uh, Obviously, it's Sunday the 6th here. You guys were following Uther's. I'm going to put the word hunch in like visible air quotation marks.
You cannot prove anything.
And you guys investigated a warehouse in I2. You discovered that the Glomide were in fact operating out of the warehouse, that there were several guards kind of glamored as spindle frame constructs. You engaged in brief conflict with them. They tried to blow up the warehouse, but you guys managed to stop that in time by the use of a swarm of goats, cold kicks, and a lot of running really fast and cutting objects. I think you guys investigated a bit and found that there were guns here, the barbed, like, caltrop bombs, big chunks of amber. They were being loaded into a sort of like... I'm struggling with the word. It's like privately owned. It's like a privately owned train rather than one that was owned by the city. Unfortunately, you weren't able to work out which train it was in particular, but you do know that it operates out of the Stone Rose district, which has already been named as being a place that the Glomide work out of. I think you guys discovered that there was a link to a judge as well that was doing paperwork with this warehouse in particular. Oh, and you guys
Camille.
Yeah. And you guys took the teleportation circle after kind of cutting it a little bit, this precast teleportation circle that you are taking back to the academy to be looked at. I think that about covers out everything we were doing at the end of last session. You guys have a meal that evening with Mistel. Is there anything you guys want to do on the way back to the academy, or before you go out to go out on the lake for dinner that evening?
I would like to stop by that one shop and pick up the telepathic bond crystal.
Yeah, paying full price.
Yes, 5,000.
Yep, 5,000 gold.
I'm wondering whether Dafer had the opportunity to be informed that this is a formal evening or not.
Yeah, it was in the group chat thing, and people have talked about it. Some people went shopping and so on.
I see. Then that opens up the question whether I made explicit plans with Sigrid this time or not, because obviously time-wise I'm not getting the time today again.
It's up to you. Obviously, you can go and talk to her. You can go and talk to her and say, "Hey, look, I've been shoved into this, and let's because you could always go and eat with her during the week after your lessons or something. It doesn't have to be the weekend that you do stuff like that." What do you want to do?
I think there wasn't even. I don't think we actually agreed on a specific date. I just had it set in my head that I wanted it to be this Sunday, but I don't think there was a scene where I specifically told Sigrid, "Hey, this Sunday, how about?" So I think I guess I just suggest the Wednesday evening.
Yeah.
Should have the time for that, and go haphazardly into the city and just buy any dress shirt and any any kind of barely acceptable shirt pants combo.
Yeah, do you want to say
Given the absolutely ridiculous amount of time of heads up we've been given.
say probably 5 gold pieces, Dafer.
Okay. Okay.
So Dafer goes shopping, but for clothes. Adhira goes crystal shopping for expensive crystal. Anyone else got anything they want to do before they head out that evening? No, just chilling till then?
Think so.
Yeah.
What's an SCP?
Secure, contain, protect. It's like an anomaly, an entity. Waiting around for a little while in the evening, getting ready. Eventually, Mistel, Kyle, and Aiden would come over to your dormitory. Mistel in the outfit that you already saw when she kind of purchased it with Adhira and Clara. Aiden is kind of like kind of K-poppy in the way that they dress. Like it's somewhere between like this formal attire and yet also there's some like flashier elements to it as well. And Kyle is dressed in sort of like more dress shirt stuff, the same as like Dafer went shopping for, but with a bit of like gold and other colors splashed into it as well. Mistel, as she arrives at your dorms, kind of walks in and says, is everyone ready? We'll take the train to the Lake District and we'll walk to the port from there.
That works fine by me. Nice dress shirt, Kyle. Also, nice outfit, Mistel.
Thank you. She kind of waits for everyone to gather up and then eventually starts leading the group out as like a one big blob. As you're walking, Kyle kind of gets nearer to you, Adhira, and says, "Hey, I think we spoke before?"
Yes, I believe we have. She's fully dressed up at this point. Like,
Yeah.
probably had to get help from like Verity or Clara, but like full henna kind of makeup. It's nice to talk to you again.
I like the traditional touches.
Well, it's most of all of it I know. There's some interesting styles in the city, I won't lie.
He nods and kind of... Yeah, go on.
What's he wearing again? What kind of style is it?
Well, it's kind of similar to you in the sense that, like, it's Empress City style, but Lament's colors. So he's wearing, like, gold and silver with, like, embellishments of, like, gemstone sort of colors as well. Specifically onyx.
What was he going to say before I interrupted?
He just says, yeah, I've been meaning to try and hang out more. It's just, you know, awkward with you being in a different dorminal.
Yeah, things were a bit weird, but our upper classroom are very nice. They've really helped us out.
Yeah? Not too scary?
No. Verity's a sweetheart.
Thinks for a moment and says, Verity is...
Classics.
Classics. Nods. Says, kind of pinkish hair. Sort of.
Yes. Love sweets. stuffed animals. Good taste in the literature, though.
Kind of raises an eyebrow and says, I mean, who doesn't like sweets?
You'd be surprised. I think she's going to sort of turn the conversation towards asking about his background, in a sense. Like, did he move from Laments? Did he grow up here? What was family like?
I'm from Eastern Laments. I mean, the train lines kind of run up to near enough where I'm from, about as far as they dared go, but our settlement sort of sprawled towards the train lines because trade is, well, good for everyone, I suppose.
When did you move? How old were you?
Oh gosh, I think my parents moved us. I was in my younger teens. It's so long ago, it's hard to really remember, but it's been a while. I still have pretty vivid memories of home, though.
It's something, even though I've lived there most of my life, already I feel myself wanting to go back. Just to see it.
I think I'd like to go back
Homesickness I get.
too, but for, I guess, slightly different reasons. You know, refresh my memory in a sense. They say that old memories like that aren't exactly trustworthy, that the longer that you've been absent, the more you sort of make things up and add things in. I'd like to see home for what it is, not what I think it is.
Or what you hear.
Or what I hear. Try and focus on what we're doing here. I hear you found other distractions, though.
Other distractions?
Well, I share a dorm with other year ones.
Oh. Her expression notably hardens for a sec, not out of like anger, but cutting herself off from feeling something at that moment.
Unless I've got the wrong end of it. Sorry.
It's complicated.
So, you two aren't together?
We aren't. No. I thought we would be, but there's an aversion to putting a label on it. He doesn't want me involved with something.
Well,
it's a mess.
Yeah, sounds messy. I think he's stupid, though. Whatever it is.
Well, in my humble opinion, all boys are silly, so... Tries to put out a smile for Kyle. Tries to cheer herself up a little.
He, thinks for a moment and says, I was trying to come up with a witty response or defense, but, no, you're probably right.
I think she enjoys conversing with him as they walk. Probably definitely helps lighten her mood.
Also on the walk, Aiden, who I don't think you guys have had much interaction with, he seems quite comfortable being quiet in a sense, but there's also keeps glancing at Dafer and Uther before eventually sort of mustering up the question that's kind of been bugging him. He says, you two have a good relationship with the engineering, the workshop students, right? At least I've seen you in there quite a bit.
At this point, I'm not sure if it's allyship or me just being a student there, but yeah.
So
Yeah,
not.
more or less.
It's just I heard you were on that new train. The dogmatic automotive one.
Yeah, they threw a book at us.
Did you get to read the specifications?
I think if I
interposing
hadn't, they
Uther
would
between
have
myself and
killed
Aiden.
me.
What'd you say, Uther?
I think if I hadn't, one of them would have killed me.
He starts peppering you with questions about the train, basically, Uther. Like,
Oh god.
how it works, why it works, what's different about it. Quite passionate about the vehicle in general, I would say.
Oh, he got trains, I see.
Jesus, what of those?
Give me an insight check, actually, Uther.
Insight.
You would say from the way he's talking, he got engines, Uther. Crystal engines, spirit engines, whoever it is, whether it be airships, Crystal vehicles, or trains. Aiden seems to be interested in vehicles, I would say.
Yeah, I'll answer what questions I can.
Uther, give me an Arcana check.
Actually, I'd throw in from what I haven't read the book, but I feel like from what
You were on it too,
I
yeah.
remember of the
Yeah.
trip, it's a
Yeah.
I'd throw in the odd remark or so on, so I'd support there.
Uther, you would have advantage. You want to roll again. You already rolled pretty well, but let's see if you can get higher, I guess.
Crit.
Oh well, boys. Nope.
Too bad.
Uther, the two of you end up having a pretty interesting conversation about the backup Crystal engine on the train and the way it hands over to this spirit and how it all works. Aiden himself seems to be working on a project. He's attempting to make a single-person Crystal vehicle. Essentially, he's trying to make a Crystal motorcycle. And he has a conversation with you about the challenges he's having with, like, energy output and having your legs near the engine and other things like that. Like, burning issues and other things. But, yeah, you have a nice, interesting technical conversation about it as you're walking along.
Mm-hmm.
Cell game still explodes on you, I guess.
Aiden nods and says, yeah, workshop students have already recommended I put in an automatic cutoff, which has resulted in me falling off of it quite a few times as the speed suddenly shifts down to not anything at all.
Okay, I'm going to ask a simple
Shouldn't
question.
momentum still keep you going?
Yeah, why cut all momentum and why not just cut the power to the motor itself?
Sorry, my wording was bad there. The difference in accelerating to no longer accelerating causes a shift in the speed that I am expecting, and therefore I make a mistake and fall off because there is no indicator of it occurring. The issue's mostly me. I can't even pretend otherwise.
Can you just live track the power levels and have a gauge that that gives you that information or makes it visible to you?
Or maybe a blinking warning light. Something like that, at least, yeah.
Some kind of indicator.
Yeah. Mistel would try to somehow maneuver herself so she is between Clara and Caliban and walking with the two of you. Is that physically possible, Clara and Caliban?
I mean, the issue is
definitely.
trying to have Caliban and Clara in any kind of close proximity.
That's the big...
I think, if anything, this is easier than her doing a lot of things because it puts a buffer between them, which
Yeah,
Clara
that's
would
true.
be quite pleased about.
But how are you not on the opposite end of the group? Is the bigger question.
Because everyone else seems to be talking to people. I haven't been given a choice.
Mistel stood between the two of you, so, like, kind of looking back and forth between the two of you, a little nervous to speak up, eventually does say, I've never been to this restaurant before. I hope it's good. Caliban, you've spent a lot of time on the lakes. I don't suppose you've ever been? It's supposed to be a ship called the Venture, which they turned into a restaurant. If that rings a bell to you.
Out of character, am I familiar with this?
I am it's entirely up to you, Caliban. I think you could be or you could not be.
I'll just say, no, I'm not familiar. But if worst comes to worst, the best that happens is just a fun interaction.
You're right.
Between all of us.
It's the company that matters, and I can't think of a finer one. She smiles at the two of you.
Clara smiles back, although it is a little pained.
She looks at Clara and says, the outfit looks really good on you.
Thank you. I'm glad we were able to go shopping for something.
She nods and says, it's always nice to, I don't know, try something new.
Yeah, I agree. You have great taste.
Oh, thank you. I do try. She kind of looks down at herself and says, I can't lie, a lot of my taste is informed by my family.
That's not always a bad thing.
She nods. Says, well, technically, tonight is on them. I thought I'd better do something nice with the money they sent me. A meal seemed, I don't know, grown up.
That's definitely one way to put it. What made you choose this place? I don't think I ever asked.
I've never really been on the water. I thought, well, maybe I can sort of get something out of being on a boat as well as having this meal. Obviously, I'm from a mountain top and I've come to the city. We passed by the sea on the train on the way here. I obviously read about it and seen artist pictures, but it was different seeing the sunset hit the waves as we went by. I don't know, it made me sort of long to do something like this.
I can respect that.
The sea is to the north of your home, isn't it, Clara? Have you ever gone that far north?
Once or twice. To be honest, there's not really much reason to. At least for us. We were, well, more preoccupied with things to the south.
Right. Yeah. You guys get on the train, eventually head to the sort of like harbor area that is on the lake that you've passed by and over a couple of times now. The ship itself is like a big old steam paddle boat type thing, like the kind of thing that you would have seen going up and down rivers in like, oh god, I think it's like Louisiana, like that kind of like big circular wheels that are turned by engine, like big and lazy. Yeah, like a riverboat. Yeah.
We're in the bayou.
How many balconies?
So
is it?
It's 3. I want to use the word stories, but it's like not quite that big, right? It's like 3 floors, and there are balconies all the way around the top 2 floors. The top floor itself is completely open air, and you can see there are tables up there with like gas lanterns that kind of light each of the tables. And then there is a interior restaurant area that is more like a bar area with stand-up tables where you can see people are like having meetings and talking to each other. You see there's a lot of big money people here. People that look like they work for like the big corporations in the city. People that have royal crests etched onto their arms and things. Caliban, you, as you're looking around, you would notice like a few minor noble families. Nothing that like immediately catches your eye and you're like, oh, it's you know, you're probably the highest ranking noble that's about to set foot on this boat, Caliban. But there are a few individuals here that, you know, bear the crest that marks them as having enough money to be here. Did you have any other questions as to the boat itself, Atira, or is it just about the balconies?
No, that was personal player knowledge of having been on those sort of boats and just wondering. Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of nostalgia here.
The second floor balconies, there are people sat out there with drinks and pipes, you know, like smoking out on the balcony, drink in one hand, talking about how work is going, discussing the new deals that are going through, opportunities in the north, things like that. A sort of butler-esque individual greets Mistel at the as you're walking onto the ship, and says, "Your table is on the upper floor. No rain scheduled for this evening, so no need to worry about anything like that. Here, follow me." Leads you up some staircases and up onto the upper floor. There are maybe 30 or so tables up here, and about 5 of them have people at it, including you guys. So not many people up here. The second floor seems busier, that like more people just dropped in to have a drink. Once you're seated, you guys are there for about 10 minutes before you hear the engine start to power up. Steam starts to rise from a big chimney at the back of the ship, and the wheels start to turn, and the ship starts rolling out into the lake itself. Mistel sits herself as close to like the balcony edge as she can and like looks out over the water as waves rock the ship ever so slightly and the paddles turn and push you out. Kyle looks a little unnerved by all of this as he's looking around, as he's like maybe not someone who's entirely for the water, and perhaps discovering that for the first time right now as he's like looking.
My finger was over the Constitution check button. I was just about to see how well she takes it. Not well. She's the same boat.
As the two of you, literally the same boat, sat next to each other, both looking maybe not peaky, but a little uncomfortable as the ship rocks a little, but it's not too choppy, obviously, as it's just a lake. The wind does cause some rocking. Aiden is obviously just looking at the back of the ship and like, I wonder what the engine for this thing uses. You can like see the question he hasn't said anything, but he's like looking at the chimney, looking at the mechanisms on the paddle boat itself, and you can see that he's like trying to backwards work out what is this thing. But yeah.
How old does the boat look?
Give me a... It's either Arcana or History, either one, Uther.
Well, I have one of these, so...
23? Judging by the fact that the chimney stack uses what they call like a transmutation field, so it's got like a series of runes and a crystal ring around it, it's probably burning a fossil fuel, so it's burning like coal or something down there, Uther, and what's happening is the exhaust is actually being turned into water vapor by the transmutation field as the exhaust goes through it, which tells you it's quite an old vehicle, Uther, as most things now use crystal for the engine itself.
Yeah, I'll just mutter that to him, kind of point out the rings on the smokestacks.
Look at them, say, of course. I can't believe I didn't notice I was so enthused by the mechanisms on the wheels. He looks at it and says, hard to believe that we were burning things that were, I don't know, polluting the skies, making people sick.
I think would have been less of a problem without the barrier, but that would raise other problems.
True, they were building their stacks higher and higher, but I suppose with the environment around us already a miasmic wasteland, there was probably little concern to begin with, at least until it started falling down on top of people. You guys...
So I'm going to ask a goofy question, Hinder.
Yeah.
This is the riverboat on a questionably man-made lake, right?
The lake, the lake was
lake?
here, but it has been expanded by hand. So there was a smaller lake that they've made into a bigger lake.
So was the city using canals at one point, or?
Give me a history check, Uther.
Oh. Oh, looking at my sheet, I have the other one too. But I'm bad at it.
You've never seen or heard anything about canals, but you have seen some ferry ships, so maybe it was just used to ferry people back and forth, Uther. That's the one thing you can sort of think of.
Before they got the trains going. Uh-huh.
Especially since the nobles tried to keep the lake districts and the main city districts quite separated. The lake is almost like a noble moat, perhaps, is a good way of describing how it was originally used. You guys sit on the lake. Drinks are brought up. You can order what you want. It's a very, like, bistro-style steakhouse type thing on the lake. Food style that's going on here. I think time kind of marches onward and the light is fading, taking away the odd purple glow that comes with that, and as the stars come out a little, you're on the lake on this paddle boat with the starlight above and the darkness of the night starting to fade in. Kyle, who's kind of recovered a little bit, looks at you, Atira, and says, I don't think I've ever had food like this.
I think we had something similar back when we were with the Fortis family. They treated us to some pretty expensive stuff.
It's nice, but I can't say it's spiced how I would like. It's certainly rich.
I know what you mean. She's going to take a sip from probably some alcoholic drink she's gotten to help calm her nerves.
Did you get the champagne? He looks at you.
I'm trying to think if she'd go for champagne or something rougher, like some kind of whiskey drink. Is there a spirit that would be more popular in Laments?
Yeah, I would assume, like, it
Mushroom
would...
tequila?
Well, I think it would be more like spirits that are made of desert fruits, or like fermented, like cactus fruits, which would be like very sweet dessert wine type thing. It's quite syrupy.
Would this place have some of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
She's gonna ask for that.
I I think I would say, you know what? It's stupid, but my parents never let me have that when I was living there, and for some reason, my brain says I still can't, and yet I absolutely could, couldn't I?
I hold out the glass to him. Expectant smile.
Oh, well, I was hoping to perhaps have an angel on my shoulder, but I suppose the devil will do. He takes the glass and sips it. Oof. He kind of like scrunches his eyebrows and says, I wasn't expecting something so, I don't know, sweet. It's nice. I just wasn't expecting it.
It's something you get used to. I remember when I first had it. I was a bit younger.
He raises an eyebrow at you. Says, I've been making your own rules for a while, I see.
Yeah.
Must be different moving into the academy that's filled with them.
And honestly, it's not entirely a bad thing, you know. Some rules I don't quite like, but it's a nice trade-off for the dorms and, well, everything they're helping us do.
He pauses for a moment, as if there's a question he wants to ask, but he knows it might be a little close to...
Can I insight, if at all possible?
Yeah.
If I've had experience with people asking this question before.
Yeah, you can insight that.
12.
12? It doesn't seem like... How do I put it? You don't get the impression it's super, like, rude or personal. He's just trying to work out, like, the pacing of this. Like, should he wait longer to ask this? That's the question that you can see written on his face.
Okay. She doesn't say anything, just measuring him up.
I think...
She will, however, move the conversation back towards asking him what questions he might have about limits. Having been there much more recently, what questions does he sort of have about the culture that she'd be able to clear up for?
Yeah, he'd ask...
like, yes, you're remembering it correctly.
He'd ask about the settlement you grew up in. He'd ask what made you come here from Laments and things like that. I don't know if you'd tell him that you were near the Guardian that was destroyed or something like that.
I think she'd answer pretty fully on where she's from. You know, smaller place, still has the water transfer spires, all the usual trappings of a colony. Maybe a little bit more outside influence through the traders, but I don't know how she would say it, but she would definitely sort of not give away the entirety of her closeness to the Guardian and the attack on the other colony.
I think he would say, you speak so passionately about home. It's funny the difference in the way you look when you talk about it.
Well, it's one of the reasons I'm here. It's the reason I'm here.
You plan on going back when you graduate?
Yeah. I hope I could work something out like that.
I mean, you should just be able to choose where you go. Oh, well, that's different, isn't it? Depending on whether you want money or not. I think I want to protect Laments as well when I graduate. I was hoping maybe I could go to the border region, see how things are since I've been gone, and I don't know, try and help them.
Now he is western border, correct?
Eastern.
Okay.
So he'd be where the train lines pretty much get to and then stop.
Yeah, things have been changing on the border, last I've heard.
Yeah, artillery,
Takes
things
another
like that.
sip of her drink. Go on.
He says, I think it will be good for them to have someone there that's on their side.
I agree.
Maybe you can come with me.
Maybe. Let's see how it plays out.
I'd like that. Mistel is kind of chatting idly with Clara. Can I get a perception check from you, please, Caliban?
Sure thing. Perception.
16.
Good enough.
You see a little bit of a stir near the stairwell as a lone individual is coming up onto the dining deck from the kind of like the drinking space downstairs. Plump-ish fellow, you know, like just a little more rounded at the cheeks, fills out their expensive clothing that looks like it was tailored for them a while back, and they've filled it out. A dark hair tied back in a ponytail with a white shock that goes from the back to the front, kind of badger-like in a sense, with just like a white streak that goes through their hair. Caliban, you recognize your uncle, who is assuring the staff right now that he has every right to be up here.
The one that lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bahanir von Halig, correct.
Bahanir. Oh boy.
As he brushes off one of the wait staff, he looks around on the top deck and he says, "Look, there, my nephew. Hello? Yes." He waves at you, big chubby hand in the air as he starts to stride past the wait staff. He says, "Oh, if it isn't my big brother's pride and joy. Caliban, how are you? I haven't seen you in years."
Caliban does his best to not look stun-locked.
He puts a big hand on your shoulder, Caliban, and says, "Made it out of that stuffy home, I see. Just like your good old uncle, hmm?"
Yes, uncle.
My, look at you, you've gotten so tall. You could certainly cultivate a little more mass, Caliban, but I have to say, you've grown up well. You've got your mother's hair. Fabulous.
That I do.
Well, are you having fun? Hmm? Nothing like freedom and fine wine, is there? Hmm?
Emphasis on freedom, but yes.
Well, I would say emphasis on the fine wine, but that's you and me apart, I suppose.
Caliban,
Yes,
would you mind introducing us? I do believe we have not had the pleasure.
Yes, indeed. I would like to emphasize for the first time, if Clara or anybody else is paying attention, you have never seen Caliban look more deer in a headlights than now.
Are we getting Prisoner of War doing SOS with his blinking vibes yet?
If I may introduce one of the less known members of the family, and yet still part of the family nonetheless, Bahanir von Halig. He doesn't need to...
Oh, sir?
He bows slightly to the table and says, "Caliban has the right of it. I've never been much for, I don't know, the fame and the accolade of my family. No, I've struck out mostly on my own, you could say." So, seeing you on this ship, Caliban, without the rest of the family in tow and their bodyguard in sight, look at you, doing your own thing. Why? Oh, I say, blood of mine, your father hasn't cut you off, has he?
Contrary, I'm merely within the academy. Alright, just with compatriots, with classmates.
Classmates? What are you, at the Royal Academy?
Out of character. This is East Academy, right?
This East
Yeah,
Academy.
it is East Academy, and Dafer is laughing at that, at the mere notion of him being part of Royal Academy.
No, just part of the East Academy.
Ah, you've become a knight. Wow. I never would have thought it. I can't believe your father allowed it. You haven't secretly had a younger brother this whole time, have you?
I can assure you, if I had a younger brother, he tried. They would have gotten along far more swimmingly than me.
He smiles and says, "Oh, you don't know that. Although I do envy you being an only child and all. The split attention of one's parents is a horrible, horrible thing. I had to beg and plead to get anything in the will, I have to say. Not that money matters, of course, but, you know, it's nice."
Understandable.
Gives you a
What
big...
brings you all the way over here?
Oh, the fine wine and freedom. They serve it both on this boat.
Well, I'm not one to judge.
He grabs a seat from one of the unused nearby tables and pulls it up next to yours and sits down next to you, Caliban.
Internally.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
We were here as a sort of class outing.
Oh, that's wonderful. Activities, building memories forever. I'm sure you'll be talking about this with your comrades when you're old and grey, or who's left of you anyway.
Ooh. That is wild.
Just for reference, Dafer has very much interpreted Bahadir as not part of us, and therefore is giving him the type of vibe of we're trying to be with us. Hey, hello.
Dafer, you can tell when he's not looking at you, you don't exist to him. His attention is on Caliban, and there is no one else in the world. You're like a background thing that keeps popping in every now and again. And when he talks to you, it is to hit you with a rubber mallet to put you back down in your mole hole so he can keep talking to Caliban. And you don't need a high insight to see this. He is just dismissing you and heading back to Caliban with his attention. He says, so father hasn't cut you off then. That's good, that's good. You know, your uncle has gathered a great many interesting contacts. If you were to give a little kickback to good old Bahania here, it could be quite useful to you, both now and in the future, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'll take you up on that.
Oh, you're a good lad, you really are. Always have been. Even when you were growing up, you know. Never cried, no.
Calvin, I'm giving you a tap on the foot under the table. Why is he trying to communicate in Morse?
I don't think you know Morse. I'm just giving you a meaningful look and tapping you on the foot under the table. That's basically the best I can give without being rude.
Sam.
Go on, sorry.
I see this guy, like, how he treats classmates versus Caliban, of just like, Dafer speaks up, address Dafer, turn right back to Caliban, right?
Yes.
Like, I see this.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how unguarded is this guy's wallet? Just kind of giving a passive perception right now.
Wait, hold on. Are you gonna... would I know what Akira's up to?
Both you give me perception checks.
Will you let me in on this?
Give a perception.
Both of you give me a perception check.
Okay.
So,
Oh no.
Caliban, unless Adhira is explicitly trying to signal you, you haven't noticed. Adhira, you don't see, he's not got like a wallet on him per se, but you can tell that there is something in his inside coat pocket, kind of like in the breast pocket. It's small, maybe like a Christam card or something like that, but it's like down in front of him. And his suit jacket is opened a little bit, because if he does it up, it's like straining to stay closed. So yeah, it's like a couple of buttons are popped open. But he'll look at you, Caliban, and say, And of course, eventually, you'll take the old proverbial throne and be stuck in that dank old dungeon of a home. Dark corners everywhere, drafts, awful heirlooms taking up every room. You know, I happen to know a few buyers who might want some of those heirlooms. There's no reason you should be on your own in such a stuffy, awful place. We could get you a nice penthouse apartment, just like your uncle. We could be across the hall from one another.
I have been thinking of renovating the old manor, just to make it a little less stuffy.
Exactly. There's so many things lying around, and God knows we don't need them. Someone out there would take good care of them anyway.
Just pat on the shoulder. What a shark you are.
Oh, no. I wouldn't do it for anyone other than you, Caliban. It's a family thing, of course. And I wonder, just a hypothetical question, but with you being a knight and all, dangerous occupation as it is, what happens if you were to perish in the field? I mean, there's no heir left, is there then? Who would the house and such go to at that point? Do you know? We wouldn't want the state.
I believe that once I formulate an adequate enough will, I believe it would have to go to somebody that I would trust with the responsibilities.
Maybe we should arrange to have drinks more often, Caliban. Get to know one another. Your father's been between us for far too long.
Of course. So just like trying to paint a smile to the best of his abilities.
So, which one of these lovely ladies is yours?
He's going to take a drink, and then he starts like choking.
Obviously, you're running out of time to produce an heir, so I assume you're on that one.
Excuse me.
Oh,
this is a little.
See, sickness
presumptuous.
already hitting, isn't it?
It's a little presumptuous, isn't it?
Oh, is it? My
apologies. Give me some time. Give me some time, please.
Well, if you're unable to, I don't know, find someone, your uncle knows a great many individuals who'd probably be interested.
What is Mistel thinking right now?
Mistel is sort of just staring at this man with what is this? Just an expression of you think if it was her he was talking to, she probably would have hit him.
Okay. Caliban?
Yes.
You're getting a third tap, and I ask you, shall I? Giving a meaningful look towards your uncle.
I look at him from the corner of my eye, give a slight
you
nod,
won't,
and then I look at Adhira, and okay, so Chris, Adhira, what is? Are you going to make it obvious? Well, to me at least.
Make it obvious that she feels tempted. I think looking at her in full on, you'll notice that she's eyeing something on your uncle.
Caliban just needs something to lighten up, lighten this up. So, Caliban is just going to give as much as a subtle approving nod to her expression or whatever as he can.
Okay. So you give the go ahead to Adhira. I think Bahanir is chatting away in his own world at you, obviously, Caliban, suggesting all kinds of ways you could make some money in this world. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys want to do? Because he'll just keep talking, I will say.
If Dafer is chosen to get up and sort of forcibly walk him out, Adhira will join, and that's when she would strike.
Dayford is not aware of your subplot here. Dayford is just annoyed as fuck by this guy that he just interrupted and essentially ripped Dayford out of his like plans on either chatting to people or like planning the evening after the meal. So Dayford is just annoyed and just wants to get rid of him. So he has been non so subtly asking Caliban with the shall I whether Caliban is gonna start taking care of his uncle or if he in lieu of Caliban doing that Dayford will. But one of us is doing something.
I try to signal to Dayford, like, I think you'll need an insight check for this one, but like I'm trying to signal I'll take care of this. He's kind of my responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Nah, I'm taking care of this. Sir, Bahanir, was it?
Most certainly was, and you are?
Don't think I care for you to know my name. We've been here. We've been here for our own plans. It is nice that you had this reunion with Caliban, and you can have your conversations at a later point in time.
I see.
If you would excuse us.
I've monopolized too much of my nephew's time. I realize that you must have things that you want to try and worm out of him. Be careful around this lot, Caliban. Obviously, they're not from around here, and they have much to gain from you. He stands up and leaves after glancing at you, Dayford, on the way out.
Please, allow me to walk you out.
Oh, well.
I give him an eye roll, but that's pretty much all he gets out of me.
If you're going to escort me, then how am I to say no, Caliban? You'll stand up.
I shall join you.
Oh, well, and what would your name be?
My name is Adhira Far.
Oh, sounds foreign. Where are you from?
I'm from the Laments. I'm going to bring my glass with me.
You're drinking that delightful brew from the Laments as well. Are you going to finish it?
Have you never tried it before?
Well, of course I've tried it. I'm asking whether you would give me the rest of it. I mean, you don't want to drink too much. You might go overboard.
Of course, of course. And I'm going to sort of like get in close, hand on his arm, sort of lift it up for him to take.
Yeah, he'll take it.
As he does so, I am going to just try and get what's in his coat, like as stealthily as possible,
as she's doing that, I'm just sort of like gonna sort of bump against his shoulder as if like somebody was like right next to me and I was trying to make space, like, and I'm like helping him balance the glass that she gave him.
Sleight of hand with advantage, please, Adhira. You pull out a black Christhalm credit card.
Oh.
Am I able to appraise this?
Not immediately, I wouldn't think.
At a glance, you recognize this as being a card that can go into negative amounts. So there are some Crystalline cards that allow you to have negative money. This one can go into a negative 20,000.
I swear to God, Adhira, if you find out that this thing is at like negative like 19,000.
Oh, she doesn't know. She doesn't know.
He finishes the drink off really quickly, hands it to a random waitstaff that was passing by, just puts it on their tray, and says, "Have a lovely evening." Both of you, of course, but mostly you, Caliban. And he heads down the stairs.
He gives a slight bow, as politely as he can, and then just turns and walks back.
And you hear downstairs, "Fear not, Bahanir's back," and a half-hearted "Yay."
Oh my god.
And he looks at here and was like, "Did you..."
slips it back into her hand, disappears behind her back. Hands come back, card's gone.
Like, okay, at least check to see if that card's useful. Those are one of the ones that, with a modicum of, well, that can allow a slight bit of debt to accrue.
Debt.
Yeah,
card.
those are one of the credit. Those are one of the cards that can dip into the negatives.
Meaning, I can buy things despite not having money.
Well, when you take something without having anything, you're expected to give it back. So it accrues a debt. Well, granted, this is not attached to your account. He sort of like bumps her on the shoulder.
That's a very good point. I think as they near the table, she sort of gives him a nod and a smile, and sits to rejoin.
Caliban takes his seat and just like visibly relaxes now.
He was certainly a character.
Mistle nods and says, "Very colourful."
You'll have to update the rest of us on how your little walkout goes. I notice he took your drink.
Yes, but you lose things every now and then.
Clara's gonna kick Ed Here's ankle under the table because Mistle and her team are there. Yes, but it's very generous of you to give such a thing away. But we'll talk later.
Well, charity is something that comes back to pay back those that are less fortunate than others. As we could tell with Miss Adhira. God damn it! I thought Adhira was doing that for real.
No, it's hilarious.
I thought you were just.
You have a credit card
in your mouth.
And just sat there with Bahania's card in your mouth. No.
It's like saying fetch, and she goes out and steals some rich person's shit.
Well, for those that are not aware, Bahanir von Hallig, true to his name, is my uncle. The one who had parted ways with the one half of the family's swords.
Yes, having met the man, parted ways seems like what I would use as well. I cannot imagine that such a precious treasure found itself lost in his care.
I had hoped that he had learned some valuable bit of lesson in his misgivings and fall from grace. Perhaps even in my naivety, once I had found the other half of the family's heirlooms, I would do my best to absolve your uncle's misdoings, but it would appear that he had not learned a single bit of his lesson since then.
I rather think there haven't been that many consequences. Fair enough, he may have been ousted as such from your family, but he seems to still live under the impression that he lives the high life. What does he feel sorry about?
Whatever my own father's flaws are, he, one of the many smart choices was cutting him out.
Mr. looks at you, Caliban, and says, "You're searching for the other sword?"
Yes,
it's an
my family is in possession of Wrath, and he had... what's the word? I'm trying to look for the word.
Ruin?
Pardon?
You were searching for the name of the sword, or?
No. I'm trying to search for, like, a word to, like, he had just, like, sold it, but, like, in a more derogatory term.
Pawned is perhaps it, but
pawned
yeah.
Pawned it off. Yes, there we go. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
You pawned it off.
Mistle frowns and says, "And I suppose no one knows really know who to. Otherwise, I feel like it would be pretty simple for your father to claim it back."
There, one of the many benefits of the two swords being halves of a whole is that one might lead to the other. However, I don't want to risk bringing the sword about in the event that the other half might become just as lost.
Mr. Nods. Tough situation.
Well, I'm more inclined to just look for it the old-fashioned way.
I believe if I never have to see this man again, it'll be too soon. He just rubs me in so many wrong ways.
So long as I have a pulse, there's a chance that he'll stick around.
Kyle nods and says, especially since he knows you're at East Academy now.
Yes.
We'll just tell the gate to not let him in.
That or some forceful, in my opinion, rather forceful, what do you say it? Not rejection. Well, rejection to some degree.
Mr.
Telling him to step back rather forcefully, I guess.
Mr. frowns and says, there's no knowing if some of his bluster isn't honest. He might have important friends. You should be careful about how you treat someone like that as much as possible. I think Caliban handled it perfectly. You were, how do I put it, polite, but you were very noble about it, Caliban.
I believe...
Unintended.
Yes.
I mean...
Very noble indeed.
How did you intend to eventually get rid of him after you talked your ear off for another half hour?
Oh, did you mean in the situation or permanently?
Let's say in the situation. I believe in terms of permanently getting rid of him, we all have some ideas.
Ah, never would have expected it from you. But hey, I guess we're all full of surprises.
There are some people, but yeah. Anyway.
Let's get back to our meal.
Yes. I had not given it the thought, but well, let's not do any thinking right now. Let's just enjoy ourselves.
Mr. orders more drinks to the table. You guys have desserts brought. At some point, Mr. looks a little uncomfortable. She's got, like, her thumb on the stem of a wine glass. She's kind of, like, sliding her thumb up and down the stem. She's staring into her reflection in the wine glass, this, like, distorted image of her own face. And you can see that she's sort of, like, her eyes are unfocused in a sense of, like, reminiscing or very much caught in her own head. She sat between Clara and Caliban. She tilts the wine glass to and fro, watching the liquid kind of sway with the motion of the ship swaying softly as well. She glances up at the other two members of her class and then back to the wine glass.
Mistel, are you okay?
She's like half snaps out of it, looks at you, gives you a genuine smile and says, yeah, I was just thinking about Ellie, whether she would have liked this or not.
How did she feel about the water?
Well, she was from Ostport, so she's probably more used to it than most of us. She also wasn't a fan of bright lights, so I think she would have preferred it now it was nighttime. Kyle nods and said, adds in, she was always good at seeing in the dark. I think the brightness of the day kind of hurt her eyes. They were sensitive. Aiden says, I'm not sure she would have enjoyed it at all. Mistle kind of turns and looks at him and says, what makes you think that? Aiden just says, she always wore the mask. She didn't much like being around large groups of people. I suppose 8 isn't large, but... Mistle looks like she's like kind of about to say something to Aiden, and Aiden says, plus, being in the dark didn't help her, did it?
It gets easier, by the way.
Mistle looks at you and smiles and says, time, right?
Not just. Time by itself doesn't really do anything except make it feel more distant. It's more like the things you choose to remember. You keep the good memories, the ones that you care about, and everything else sort of falls away. Not so much that you ever forget it. It's kind of like patching up a quilt. You'll always be able to tell that something else was there, but you think about where it came from and why, and it's more of a reminder than a pain.
Kyle nods and says, I was talking to Atira about it, but that's kind of how I feel about home at the moment. I only have memories, but I think in some sense it's maybe not quite the truth of what it is, but it's still important to me. Ellie was kind. She couldn't help but help people, and I'll always remember that about her.
Did she have a favourite song?
Aiden nods and says, well, I don't know about specific song, but she liked to go to there's a jazz lounge in I2. She didn't like to go for the jazz, but she went there for some sort of, she called it underground music, whatever that means. I think they literally were underground.
Let me see what I can find. Clara's gonna do like a cursory search to see if anyone's done like a recording and like posted it somewhere.
What you find is, looking on your little crystal tablet, is that Ellie went to go and listen to recordings of Vesper's music. And as you're looking through some posts made by Ellie that are still stored on here, you can see that they're from the same town, and Ellie very much idolized Vesper quite a lot.
Right. Glasses up, everyone.
Everyone
Clara's gonna like hit play on the music and just like leave her tablet in the middle of the table.
It is unfortunately not very I don't know, like emotionally poignant, because it's like dance club music in a sense as you put the crystal tablet down. But you can see that, you know, the 3 members of her class do recognize that that is the music they would hear coming from her room, you know, late at night when everyone was supposed to be asleep. That sort of rhythm is just right as they raise their glass, and they will drink to remember her. But eventually the night, it gets late enough that you guys are starting to worry about getting in before the gate closes at the academy, and you need to depart the ship. Heading down, luckily for you, Bahania seems to be in the middle of a conversation with 2 very well-dressed older gentlemen that are wearing company colors for the Azalea Foundation and Licht Co. as he is attempting to. You can see him saying, "Oh, please, come on, just a bottle. I mean, I'm good for it. I really have just misplaced my card."
Oh.
As you pass on by and head back towards the academy. Get back on the train. It's a little quieter on the trains at night. There's sort of there's a night shift crowd, people that have their night jobs that they're commuting to and fro, but not many people are out and about late in Empress City. It's not like a city that never sleeps, in a sense. There are probably some districts somewhere where that might be true, but here in I2, it's most certainly not. And yeah, you head back to the academy. Mistel at the gates looks at you and says, "Thank you for joining us tonight. It was, with you all in a different dorm, it always felt like there was a bit of a wall between us, and it's nice to take that down."
Thank you for having us.
Of course. When I
It was fun.
told my parents about Ellie, they sent me these funds. Didn't really know what to do with them, but I think this was the right choice. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Nods, and the three of them head into their dorms and leave you to your I think it's probably like 11 o'clock or something like that.
So they need
I think wanting to distract him.
They are in therapy. Apart from Mistel, who isn't, but yeah.
We need to get her to go to the group therapy.
Yeah.
I think Digger wanting to spend some time more distracting himself, because just like that he can't go to sleep. I think he needs to get a little bit back into work mode before he can drop back. So I think he'd spend another hour or so doing a little bit of rune stitching, and then just go to sleep.
Yeah, just a little bit to reset your head. Yeah, you sit down and do some practice stitching. Yeah. Anyone else have anything they want to do before going to bed?
I'm going to find Caliban.
Okay.
Scandalous.
Not yet. This is also the wrong kind of scandalous for what you're reading about, but it would be a scandal.
Clara, no, you can only kill him after we graduated.
Can I borrow you for a moment?
Sure.
How do you feel about your uncle?
I have concerns.
Can you elaborate at all?
I had expected that he would be... He had wisened up to his misgivings. But ultimately, he is as immature as...
Are you still looking for the other sword?
I have recently made it my mission to look for it. Why do you ask?
Because I think I can help.
He raises an eyebrow. Oh?
Your uncle is many things, but subtle is not one of them. He's made it blatantly clear he knows people who are moving artifacts through the city, or at least through his general circle of awareness. And he's also made it very clear that he's looking for new marks. And thinks that you could be next, I propose we lay a trap.
I'm listening.
I think you should tell him you found a girl.
Really now?
Someone foreign who doesn't have as much sway in the city, and you need his help to get her things from her hometown in exchange for a cut of some of them.
And who would be stupid enough to do that?
No one. No one would be stupid enough. Unfortunately, you happen to know someone who is by far and away intelligent enough.
Well, that's certainly a good proposition. I was just simply going to suggest we find an artifact in our next mission and just pawn it off.
Even so, there's no way of guaranteeing that that's one that he might want. He's going to look for a larger stock. He's desperate, you can see it. So...
More. Well, if you're sure that this plan is going to work...
Oh, not at all. He's your family, and I know absolutely nothing about this. But he's a noble, and I know plenty about nobles. I can read him like a book.
He is greedy.
Gluttonous, even.
Oh yes, you've been paying attention to his waist size.
I've been paying attention to his personality. It's not just for food. Wine, money, clothes, company, even.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Don't make a decision now. But I'm trying to do something nice. So remember that the offer is on the table should you so need it.
Okay, I'm in.
I just said don't make a decision hastily.
Okay, but it's not hastily, I'm just doing it right now.
That's hastily. You heard about it 10 seconds ago.
Okay, but it's coming out of your mouth, and you're obviously one of the smarter ones of the group.
Also, that's not fair. I'm people smart, maybe not book smart.
And I'm really smart.
It will take some time to lay down the foundation, and as much as I loathe to admit it, we will have to pretend to like each other.
Alright. Though... He's trying to, like... Okay, never mind. I was, like, thinking... Would Caliban feel bad if he did this around Mistle?
That's an excellent question for Caliban to think and feel about.
Yeah. I'm having a mental battle with myself.
Caliban's experiencing
growing as a person.
empathy.
Let's keep this faux hidden relationship out of the earshot and eyeshot of Mistle. I am not quite sure about my own feelings for her.
My gosh. He displays an emotion. Maybe there is hope for you yet.
I think Verity, in her asleep right now, rolls over in bed and sort of mumbles, enemies still loves. And just like falls back to sleep.
I did not catch that.
And enemies to lovers just mumbled under her breath that she's like,
she's updating the fanfiction tag.
She's like asleep in bed, just.
Oh my god, her mind palace is an AO3 archive.
She's about to breach her bookmark limit. It's gonna be a rough morning.
Oh no!
Her brain shuts down for 12 hours while everything updates.
Oh no. Well, fine. I'll. Yeah, let's do it. Okay.
Whatever you say.
Okay.
Although I would ask you to reconsider the whole Mistle thing. If you feel some sort of way about her and I have only just gotten on good speaking terms. I'm not going to ruin that for you.
How about you take some time to update your rapport with her?
Fine. A couple more club activities, I'm sure. We've already been shopping. We're practically BFFs. Or so I hear. That's a thing that girls like.
This is the most awkward noble conversation I've ever been a party to. It's great.
He sort of like awkwardly extends a hand to her.
Hold on, I need to make a snap decision. Clara is going to take it and obnoxiously curtsy. Of course, Master Von Halleck.
I need to make an acrobatics check to curtsy much more dramatically.
You two are gonna fucking headbutt each other as one bows and the other curtsies. You're like fucking...
If it's nat 20, he does a flip somehow.
Good flip.
I'm just gonna do it for the bit.
Oh!
That's a 19!
Clara, you watch as Caliban, with all the precision of someone who took ballet as a younger child, plies in front of you to curtsy.
Not bad. She's gonna pat the top of his hand and then go to bed.
Is there anyone else anything they want to do that evening? I don't know here if you'd like to check the balance on your card.
She'll do that in the morning. But
Okay.
she returns to her dorm. She's happy. She has slunk away with loot, spoils. Slightly drunk. She's gonna enter her room and then look up and see all the stars painted overhead and just deflate.
As you deflate and look at the stars, you put your hand into your pocket for the card. You find a folded up piece of paper in there with it.
I pull out the piece of paper, read it.
It says, not bad, underlined, Kyle.
Ooh. Those are some feelings I just felt. But damn it, just lost a bunch of money. Bunch of potential money. Theoretical money space.
No, the card's still there. So you got the card and the piece of paper. Yeah, they just added the piece of paper to your pocket without you noticing as well.
You had the potential to take it at any point.
Yeah.
He could have.
I think what's worse is would be having to tell Calvin, like, yeah, lost it.
Someone stole off me, and I don't think we can report it.
Steal from a thief. Does it actually steal?
How dare they? I earnestly stole that card.
Uther, is there anything you want to do before bed? Having completed at least some part of the objective you've been given by your family member as well.
No. I want to just lounge on the couch in the common room for a little bit before going to bed. Reflecting on the day.
Yeah, you think a bit about the day and then head to bed. I'm going to quickly grab myself a drink because I apparently didn't fill this up before the session started, but I will be right back. I will also push us to another screen so you guys... Okay, so Sunday passes. Make sure you guys all have restored whatever HP and other things you want to restore, as it is rest day.
Oh man, I lose the max HP buff.
Monday to Wednesday's lessons this week are on Crystalm, how it recharges, why people think it recharges. The main body of what they're talking about is how everything in existence has like a finite amount of energy, other than things that the goddess and the scourge created or edited and corrupted. And Crystalm is essentially eternally generating power. So no matter how much Crystalm sort of grows, all the individual pieces of Crystalm, unless overused, will slowly regenerate power. Which is why, like, Crystalm branches and things you can use to cast spells, and then the next day cast spells again, so they'll like regenerate, whereas powder, when it's used, kind of fizzles itself out essentially. And yeah, it talks about, you know, what does and doesn't work in the goddess's absence and why people think it is, but ultimately what you get from the next 3 days of lessons is no one really knows, and they're all just kind of working out from what they are observing. And yeah, is there anything that anyone would like to do over the 3 days?
Speaking of Crystalm, I will bring both the lantern and the telepathic bond crystal to Izzy and ask to speak to her private, or in a private room.
Yeah, of course. She kind of, I think she'd take you outside to talk to you, like, quietly outside, because there's basically no private room in the workshop. Oh, what is it? It here?
I'm gonna first hand over to Crystal. This is the one you requested, correct?
Yes, I'll be able to link them while they sleep. This way they'll be able to at least help each other out while they're, you know, unconscious.
I do have a request made by a friend who wants to know if they could perhaps experiment with his crystal alongside you. Get your help. To make something, well, I'd want to say new, but it's more old. Something that was lost.
Her eyes light up. She hasn't said yes, but you can tell that she's never going to say no.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Alright. She goes over to find a bench or something, and she sets the lamp atop it. This friend I mentioned is actually the spirit that I hold by my side. He's an ancient thing. You know, smoke starts to pour out of the lamp. Born of rot. All of that sort of stuff.
What? And then this little frog guy pops out and says, hello. Oh. Hi. That's not what I expected after all of those words. A pleasure. She kind of like kneels down and says, so you're, Terminus Lance says, I'm Rot, master of mushrooms, inventor of such things as well. And actually your teacher for probably the next few weeks. She looks up at you and says, you have a talking frog.
Frog is a generous term, but yes.
Looks down at what is quite obviously a frog, and then looks back at you with like a raised eyebrow as to why frog would be a generous term, but doesn't say anything. You just see the confusion. It says, so you're a spirit. Nonsense says, and you're interested in ancient knowledge. at this point, she picks him up, sits him down, and immediately pulls out a book completely unrelated to anything else you've been doing so far and starts asking him questions.
Oh, he's going to really love you.
Hmm?
He likes people who want to know more. Who he can tell stories to.
They will sit and talk for as long as you are willing to sit nearby and enjoy it with the lantern.
I'm willing.
Okay. I am trying to find the spell. But if you're willing to do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think I can give you the spell. I just need to find it. Yeah. Okay, so this is what you're going to be doing with your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I think the only other thing would be stopping by to check on the tree, like every night. That's just like walk by and check and make sure it's not.
I got it. Yeah. I'm just trying to find. I know you're in here. No, that's the one that throws people out of windows. Yeah, here it is.
You guys really did make a spell that throws people out windows?
I'll share it with you after the session.
Defenestrate.
It is actually called that. And that's a second level enchantment spell.
Alright.
So by the end of the week, Izzy says, so I've managed to modify the crystal to essentially be active whenever someone is asleep. It'll allow them to control their dreams. If something attacks them in their dreams, they should have incredible abilities to fight back. They'll be able to conjure whatever weapon or as much as their imagination can come up with in order to, whatever this thing is, defend against it.
I see. Do you have fun making it?
Oh, yes. And I learned quite a lot about swamps.
Oh, yes. Is it, fun facts galore?
Mm-hmm. Do you know that some runes naturally form in mud because of the way that the water kind of sloughs away at them?
Well, I didn't, actually.
Yeah, you should talk to your frog more. It's very wise.
I've never asked about the runes before. Maybe I should let Dafer and Uther know. Wait, would Uther know that? Either of them?
Probably not. It's not their forte. Uther might have a chance because riverbanks, clay, mud, there's some crossover there, but...
That's
It would
insane.
probably be one of those weird nerdy facts he would be into, though.
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me of the Matrix. Like, the code isn't everything.
Mm-hmm.
You see the code, like, naturally appear.
Yeah, it'd be one of those things where, like, once you've learned how films work, like what kind of different shots mean what and how they're used, you can't watch a film anymore. Be like going out in the world and looking around and being like, oh, look, a preservation rune. Just like, always.
Oh. Well, if he gets any more ideas, I'll be sure to let you know. Thank you, Izzy.
Of course, helped me with my paper as well, so I can't complain. You struggle to get her to let go of the lamp. She will allow you to prise it from her with a little resistance.
How strong? Well, she doesn't have a shell, right?
No, yeah. I mean, if there's no way she could stop you from doing anything like that, but unless like you were in the workshop surrounded by crystals with tripwires and things like that. There's no way, but
I like to imagine it's one of those things. Her slightly pulling back, it's Captain America lifting the hammer. Just that slight budge of like, did she just hold her own?
I think it's one of those things where if you've got a shell, a lot of learning to use it is probably working out how much force is needed to like open a door without accident. Like it's like that Superman thing of like always trying to be gentle in a world made of paper. So you pull with the amount of force you expect to need to use to get the lamp back, only to find that it doesn't, right? Like, but yeah,
that gives me an idea for my martial arts.
You managed to prize it from her. Anyone else? Anything you want to do Monday to Wednesday, either with the Crystal lesson or in your own time after lessons?
I don't really have anything. I'm just waiting for my slime egg to hatch.
True.
Differ has two things. Number one would be progress on the crystal stitching to see that I try to get done by this weekend.
Yeah.
I'd pull in all-nighters if it turns out that the progress is not as fast as I'm expecting.
Yeah, stitching, and then you've got your evening dinner as well.
That's the second thing with for secret. So what kind of check do I give you this time? I mean, what would I strictly speaking be doing? I guess mostly just learning the stitching or looking into patterns. Maybe?
It's either sleight of hand or arcana, either one at advantage.
I think I'll take the arcana because my chances are so infinitely better than in sleight of hand.
I thought you might.
At advantage.
Yeah, you managed to finish it by the evening. By Wednesday. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I'll have a because
so
obviously I gave some rules for the paint stuff. I haven't thought too much about the stitching yet, so I will eventually do so. But I know it's
but you can take your time there. It's not for usage at all. Mostly for if Fiona does some fuck shit in the future, then those are the rules that govern her for the most part.
Gotcha.
I'll take your time.
And then I'll get to the meal in a second. I'll just see if there's anyone else who's got something they want to do. Uther, I don't know if you're still working on the paint. Or whether you're...
Yeah, I'd like to do the paint.
Arcana with advantage as well, please.
Oh, button, please. Oof, rough week.
13. I think we're probably one pip off there. Then you'd have a few days, so I'll give you 2, but not quite finished yet.
That's fine. It's not like we're going anywhere in a hurry that I'll need it on.
And Did you guys choose which painted runes you guys had? I think I gave you a set. I can't remember if you guys have chosen them yet, but...
Oh, did you?
I think
I was not aware we were choosing. Gave us a set, yeah. We thought we just had those.
Maybe I'm misremembering and I just gave you a set. I think I was playing with maybe giving you some like either or options, but if you don't remember that being there, then I probably didn't do it. That's cool. Alright.
We have paint which gives us a spell called Clue. We have a spell that turns sand into sandstone.
Yeah.
Purify food and drink.
Yeah.
Turn do invisible messages and water walk.
Yeah, I must have changed my mind on how I was going to do it. That's fine.
Well, you could always change your mind again.
I think I might when you finish it. I think there's a couple of options I might pick between for you, or have you pick between when you finish it.
Okay.
Caliban, anything you want to do Monday to Wednesday other than normal lesson stuff?
I think if there's club activities, I can maybe invite Mistel and Clara for like.
That's Thursday.
Yeah, it'll be Thursday, but I'm interested in
If
hearing what you're
anything,
going to offer.
it would be Mistel and Clara inviting you because we are members of the same club.
Oh, wait, hold. Oh yeah, that's right. I've
You
never
joined
been.
You
the
would be the
Flan Club.
third wheel.
Wait, hold on. I've never been part of the. I've never seen the slimes.
Yeah, it's true.
Caliban needs to interact with the slimes.
Yeah, you could go to the Flan Club on Thursday if you wanted.
Aside from any other activities besides like classwork, nothing much really.
Okay, that's fine. Tuesday evening, Uther, there is a note in your like pigeonhole where letters are left for you in the dorms when you get back from lessons that evening.
Fun. What is the note?
Just a quickly written message, Axel asking you to come to his office when you get a chance that evening.
Teacher has questions about where you got your information.
Shit. Is anyone around when Uther reads this?
Probably some of
When
this.
would you be reading it? Just like on after class?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably after class. Just solid in the cubby.
Yeah, like Clara would be. She's hanging out with the slimes this week.
You see Uther run just like the gambit of emotions before shutting all of that down. Just deep breath and just exhale.
That was a lot of emotions for just a letter.
Yeah, I'm being asked to give a report about our fun little warehouse journey.
That sounds fun, I guess.
Yeah, I just have to explain, that nightmare of a coincidence we ran into.
I'm not entirely sure I know what you mean.
I thought there would be something there. I did not expect the something to be tied into everything.
I suppose that's fair.
So anyway, here's hoping Axel doesn't wring my neck. And I'm just going to, like, I don't know, burn the note on the stove or something.
Okay.
Goes up.
I mean, I don't think it required burning. Uther, it's just a summons.
Yeah, but paper trails.
Uther
Has
goes
anyone
into...
ever told you that you're incredibly paranoid?
Yeah.
Just wondering.
Training, habit, preparation for future?
I mean, sure, I guess.
Don't you have
Even
correspondence
so.
you don't want people to read?
Well, yes, but this isn't what I'd consider correspondence I don't want anyone to read. This would be like when someone dropped me off the paperwork for the Flan Club, and if I just put that in the fire.
Well, no, that's different. That's a paper trail you need to have.
This is a paper trail that would be helpful for you. No?
No, not... If anything, this is an inconvenience on my day.
But I'm trying to understand what's so incriminating in the actual note. The fact we went on a sanctioned mission with our professor, and you're being asked to explain what happened?
It's, like I said, it's just habit and training. if it was a paper that I felt I needed to keep, I probably wouldn't have done that, but just habit.
Sure.
Everyone does squirrely things after a while.
Verity looks up from her book and just says, "Stop stalling." And then looks back down at her book and turns the page.
Damn, I've been found out.
Well, you best go prepare, I suppose.
Yep. If you see any wanted posters, no, you didn't.
And
Just
if
walk
I...
off.
No, never mind.
Verity turns a page without looking up and kind of says to you, Clara, "He's either going to kill someone or get killed."
Well, I'd prefer neither, honestly, but I'm so confused that I actually don't know what I'm supposed to do about it in either case.
She tilts her head back and thinks for a moment and says, "Maybe we should look through his room."
That feels like such an incredible violation of privacy for someone who was just really overprotective of a note with nothing in it. I think
She
he'd actually be mad at me.
looks back at you and says, "Well, maybe he'd be happy he was justified."
You have a very weird way of doing things, and I never told you that.
I think it's this book. She holds up and it's like a spy novel that she's reading.
I don't even know why I'm surprised at this point. Enjoy! I'm going back to the slimes. They're less confusing.
And she mumbles under her breath, "Yeah, because I'm the concerning one." Uther.
Not the one killing hostile creatures.
not the
They're
one.
not hostile!
Not the one with the acid rats. Yeah, heading to Axel's office, Uther. The door is like slightly ajar. You can see that there's more paperwork here than the last time you saw. Obviously, he's been doing stuff other than being in this room, so it's kind of piled up a little bit. Instead of doing that right now, he has like one of the sort of like big peacekeeper mission dossier things in front of him that he's kind of leafing through as you approach the doorway.
Sir, I think the paperwork is winning.
Yeah. Close the door, Uther.
Uther will just kind of nudge it shut with his foot.
Thought you should see this. He picks up a kind of like a clipboard with a few pages on it, and you can see there's an illustration of the teleportation circle.
Ooh, what do we got here?
Just before you take it, he pulls it back towards him. It says, I'm just trying to think of how he'd word this. Give me one moment. Of course, I'd be more willing to share if you were.
Understandable. What are we asking here?
I can...
Because I had no idea that my little hunch about missing trade goods would tie so neatly into our ongoing gang-related problems.
No, I can believe that. I can believe that you've put this all together from newspaper clippings and that you don't have someone out there, as it were. What I'm interested in is the motivation now. You're looking after or looking out for home.
Isn't everyone looking out for home?
I'm just trying to start a dialogue here. Simple question. No need to be defensive.
I I I mean, yes, I'm looking out for my home. We
Okay.
have a really good thing going, all things considered. I would hate for it to go and become a less beneficial for everyone scenario.
Well, that's good. Sounds like we agree on that. Let's go one step further. Is there a specific group at home that you are particularly caring for? Or is it just your home in general? I don't mind either way, Uther. I'm just trying to work out what I can do to help you. I'm your teacher. Let me be that. Or I'm trying to be. I don't think I'm very good at it, but I'm trying.
I mean, all things considered, this is a really weird scenario. So, like, I think you're doing fine, all things considered. It's just, yeah, lots of moving parts on this one.
He nods. Yeah. He hands you the clipboard with the piece of paper on it.
What does the paper reveal?
An analysis of the coordinates puts the destination of the teleportation circle somewhere in the Dulukop region, but not at Dulukop Mountain.
That's like like would I roughly have an idea of how far from said mountain?
Unfortunately, the rune work has been written in a complicated way. So, like the way the arcane sigils are put in, it uses like basically like 3 degrees of separation. There's extra rings in there, almost like putting your IP through like a VPN server in a sense. Like the teleportation
Gotcha.
circle kind
Okay.
of takes you one place and
It
then
is
another.
obscured.
Yeah, it is obscured. But they've managed to put it to like an area in the Dudukop, like between Dudukop Mountain and the northern border. So like somewhere in that track of there's quite a bit of space there, unfortunately, but yeah, somewhere in that
Yeah,
line.
that mountain range in between the wasteland.
Yes.
And I got you.
Now, what interests me about this is there's no train line out that way.
No.
Which means there's a more permanent base they've managed to establish outside of the city and other settlements.
And you're hoping I have a connection that can be used to source this out, huh?
I'm hoping you have a connection that might be able to at least look at what's there. They don't have to do anything about it, but if we know what we're dealing with, I can have people handle it in a more specific way. You don't even need to tell me who it is, Uther.
Hypothetically speaking, if I was connected to anyone or anything, I would be on extremely strict orders to not divulge.
That's perfectly understandable. In your hypothetical world, I agree with their precautions. It benefits us both on both sides. I just want you to know that I'm looking out for as many people as I can, and that includes people that you are friends with, not just yourself, Uther.
Now, see, I was planning to deflect with this whole big, oh, well, I've made friends with the criminal element of the city, because, you know, that's a more concerning outlook that most people have. But, And I guess this explains why a train got robbed in the region. They could just...
Could be them. Might not be, but
It's if it's them, it's really concerning that they keep turning up in everything. If it's not them, the only other group I can think of would be a certain radical revolutionary group.
I think that someone or a group of judges are using the Glomite to move things around without any paperwork. I think the Glomite are exploiting that as well for their own benefits, of course, but I think a few people have thrown resources at this group and are expecting their own result out of it. Whether anyone's going to get anything they want, I don't know, because obviously as a criminal organization, they have their own wants and needs, but for sure, someone with power and money is throwing their lot in with this group, and that makes them more dangerous than they were to begin with.
I'm really not liking how connected they seem to be.
You know, it's just more reason to deal with this as much as we can.
At some point, don't we run the risk of stepping on toes and getting shut down, though?
I thought so too, but I've just been informed an old mentor of mine has been assigned to help us, which tells me that the city's taking this seriously.
Well, that's good. Then the rot isn't as deep, or it's that, or they are choosing to.
I don't know what it means. It could be someone trying to cover their footsteps.
Tracks.
Yeah. If they're seen to be part of the solution, then how could they possibly be part of the problem? But I have to agree, my old mentor is a stubborn individual, troublesome, but he's honorable. He wouldn't deal with any nonsense about being pulled into some petty politics. Is there someone you can send this information to?
Yeah.
He nods. Do so. And whatever information you can get back, I'll take. That'll let us dispatch someone who's made for the kind of work that will be required.
Alright, I'll get on that then. Any other information you want me to know in this moment?
Yes, but a little more lighthearted, and an excuse for why I wanted you here. He pulls out a letter, and you can see that it's from Vesper.
Oh, hey.
It was addressed to you all?
I'll make sure it gets shared around.
Perfect. Have a good evening, Uther. Let's continue to work on this relationship. Outside of just being student-teacher.
Well, you're going to have to start coming to game night or something.
I have horrible luck with cards.
Adhira cheats anyway, you can't trust her.
Well, that's your stupid fault for letting Adhira play.
I did not think she was dumb enough to try to cheat in a casino.
I don't know if she'd see it as dumb so much as a valuable mark.
She almost got in trouble. And I'm just going to grab the letter and head out.
Don't be so adverse to trouble, Luther. Sometimes it's necessary. As you close the door.
And yeah, I'll find the group.
Carry the letter back to the dorm.
Yeah.
Don't know what you want to do. Whether you want to tell them about anything that was said, or whether you want to just hand the letter over. Or...
When I hand the letter over, and when everyone gets done reading the letter, I'll mention we got the circle translated.
I'll just say the letter is from Vespera saying that with Elias's help, they've managed to settle things down at the military base. The Graal have been moved in, and they've already helped pick production up down in the mines, which is being used to sort of barter.
Justify everything.
Yeah, barter with the base commander as well for additional protections and rights, so long as the increased production keeps up and things like that. And that she plans to come back to the city at the end of next month in the first week. So basically, like the first Sunday of next month, she plans on kind of coming back to the city, and she'll stop by.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like everything's working out over there.
Happy for them.
Definitely a plus.
Can you imagine you open the letter, it just says, the Graal are all dead, everything's fucked, oh god, be back soon.
The Graal are eating people.
I think that would be worse, yeah. We let the Graal in, they're eating people.
How we do not know. Just one sliver of skin goes missing at a time.
Oh god, that would be horrific.
Eaten alive over months.
And then, yeah, I guess you share the fact that the teleportation circle headed to Dulu Cop.
Yeah, the people that deciphered this so incredible experts that there is no point in me actually looking at the runes, or would there be any benefit to me looking into this?
I mean, you can certainly take a look at the diagram and see if you find out more. It might not be possible, but you can try.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me an Arcana check.
Like spend half an hour or so. Just out of curiosity. Since I absolutely nailed the rune stitching, I think I have the time. 14.
You look at it for a while, and for whatever reason, your math, as you like sit down with a map and keep going through it, puts it somewhere firmly in the middle of the ocean, which obviously doesn't make any sense. So you feel like maybe they might have done better than you.
How dare they?
Oh. Stuff goes missing off a train in Dulacop. Stuff goes missing from trains in the city. And apparently the Glow might have a base in the mountains.
I mean, he just said north of the Dulacop mountain, right?
Sorry, north
Not
of
the mountain.
Sorry, north of Dudukop the mountain. So like if you follow the range round, so basically like if you keep staying in the mountain range, you'll still be in kind of the mountain area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have established that it's in the mountain range, but somewhere north of Dulacop at the northern border.
That's it. You got it.
Yeah.
Which
is
okay.
a lot of
okay,
territory.
it's not near my area.
Yeah, it's sadly a very wide swath of space.
Opposite.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's also
Yeah,
very far from where
in
you're
No Man's
from.
Land.
Yeah, you're more from the flats where
Yeah.
the scrapyards are.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't like how wide spanning this quote unquote gang is.
And we'll find out more. In the next coming weeks. And we smash yet another of their warehouses.
Yeah, they're a little less gangy and a bit more mafia-y, right? Where it's like kind of spreading kind of cross country at this point, as it were, or international.
International mafia.
As for meal day to kind of take us back forward to Wednesday evening, is there something in particular you would make?
Let me give a real quick check where Ingrid is from. Sigrid is from. Sorry.
Oh, she's from the Centrum Empire originally.
Yeah, there is no way I have any idea about their cuisine. At least not yet. I think given what I have the most amount of experience in by now, what in terms of more exotic cuisine, Dave would fall back to a kind of curry.
Yeah.
Together with like a pasta dish mixed with a curry sauce.
Okay. And you want to take that to her dorms, like in a big pot, or what would you want to? Do you want to invite her to yours?
Dave is not entirely sure in what. No wait. I, the player, know in what sense assume in what sense she did the invitation, but Dafer I don't think would. He's not like the wisest person. So I think he'd take like a small pot and a small pot with sad cooking to her door.
Okay. Knocking on
the see the reaction.
Knocking on the door. I think Chiru opens it up. Chiru's like 2 heads shorter than you, so like they're pot height when you open the door. So they open the door to like a cookingware pot. Head slowly pans up. Dafer.
Hey Chiru.
Hey, is that
Sigrid in there?
Oh,
Sigrid in there.
Yeah. Do you want me to? At this point, Sigrid kind of comes around the corner and picks Chiru up and puts them to one side, and then like asks you to come in.
Hiya, Sigrid. How you been?
Not bad. Is this your cooking?
It is.
She nods, and
I thought I'm.
She gestures to like the kind of like the breakfast bar area that you guys have in your dorms. You notice that the dorms are similar, but they're laid out in a slightly different way for this year 1 space. It's a little bigger. You think maybe it was built a little bit after your dorm room, so that it's like a little bit more space conscious in a way. And everything kind of spokes off of this central area. In the year 2 dorms, there's like, it's like the communal area, and then to the left is where everyone's rooms is. For the year 1 dorms, it's like the communal area, and all the rooms come off of that communal area, so you open the door straight into a larger communal space. She motions for you to sit down, and yeah, she gets some bowls and starts and says, so why cooking?
I mean, fundamentally, when you generally build up your body. It's very little that you can do to outwork your diet. Diet is how you build up your body, and therefore it just makes sense to have the most control over that one. And if I have to care that much about what I eat, I might as well make it tasty.
She takes a spoon, puts it in her mouth as she's listening to you. She looks out at the bowl, looks at you, and says, "It's good." And she says, "You eat only... Well, no, you eat because it's good for the body, but also you could taste as well." And she shakes her head and says, "It's a good reason. I cannot fault it." And she keeps eating, and she says, "Your next mission, you stay in Empress, yeah?"
Yeah. How about you?
We go out into a field, and we kill miasmic around city. So, yeah, we will be around city as well.
Anything specific or interesting?
No. She just kind of...
We can always go for a spar.
She nods and says, "Yeah, basically she says she wants to make good use of the time while she's still in the city, and it should just be standard dealing with Ravagers that get too close to the city, helping the main assault teams." She says that she's supposed to be working with some... I'm working with the disgraced EK, some Aurelia Ashbringer.
Having heard that name before, and thus knowing exactly that she is former third rank, former third S rank, Dafer's eyes enlargen slightly. That's quite the hefty name to accompany.
Is it? I heard she was demoted.
I mean, sure, but she must have had some level of skill to get there in the first place.
Yeah, we'll see. She seems thoroughly unimpressed.
There's always something you can take away from.
Yeah.
Particularly from those that actually reached those heights before.
Maybe you're right. I will keep an open mind, of course. I just have bad experiences of officials who had power that even other officials say, yeah, maybe you went too far. Tends to be they went really far.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can't say I have too much experience in that regard. Where I'm from, you're pretty much left to your own devices.
That's nice.
Next person shows up, but it depends. It's not that nice when you're alone and you have 10 Ravagers on the walls of your village.
Yes, but you are in charge of yourself, at least. She basically says where she's from, she doesn't really remember too much. But growing up in Centrum, every town is told what they do. They move plans around for designs. She says her town was basically doing nothing but making these specific gear sizes. And then after a few years, they made something else instead. And they were never told what it was going towards. And basically, they keep each town out of the loop of what's actually being built. And they move the plans around so that no one ever has a picture of what's being manufactured by the nation, basically. The only people that know are the people that live in the capital, basically. And she's living like this, you have no choices. Yeah, I understand it's hard to survive, but you have choices. I take choices over anything else.
I think Dafer's eyes glaze a little over as he contemplates it. I'm honestly not sure. It's not just about getting being told what to do in exchange for safety. It's growing up with a couple of uncles that you really appreciate, and by the time you reach your 16s, those couple uncles suddenly are only one. Or the half a dozen cousins you knew shrunk in number by 2 or 3. It's...
I understand it must be tough, but
I'm not...
I assure you, there are worse things than death. They are remembered and they are loved, and that is a lot. She puts a hand on your shoulder and then pours herself another bowl of your food.
Having never felt like I lost that freedom, I guess I can't make the comparison on if that price is worth paying or not.
Yeah, one day
Just
you will probably
know it's not cheap.
Yeah, one day you will probably know. But there's plenty of things to do between then and now. No one needs to have the answer to every question. That's why we talk to each other. Dafer, you notice that everyone in the dorm room is like moving from one room to another for absolute bullshit reason. Like, give me an insight check, Dafer, as well.
I know. I mean, I see them. I know they're walking paths. I can analyze them after when I think about it. Insight, you say?
Yeah. 3.
That's a 3.
Obviously, you know they are trying to, like, even with a 3, you know that they're trying to, I don't know, listen in or gawking or whatever. The exact purpose behind it, you know, it could be that they're just like, oh, are they on a date? Or it could be that they're trying to listen on this conversation, or maybe, you know, there's something else there as well. But yeah, you can tell that everyone in this dorm room is trying to not muscle in, but obviously eavesdrop in a sense. Yeah. But yeah, she'll sit and talk with you. She'll talk about home. If you've got any questions about the Central Empire, you can ask her. But otherwise, she'll just talk about stuff.
I think Dafer would ask a question on how she came up with the idea for like a dinner date, essentially. What motivated her?
I think the answer you get is she knew you cooked, and therefore it was an interest of yours. And she was also aware that your physique said that you probably didn't eat to excess. So she was curious what someone like that cooks like, basically. And she'd obviously mentioned that where she grew up, food was kind of more given as opposed to made. So the idea of making her own food is kind of strange in a, not in like a like super strange sense, but like in a I've never had to do that kind of sense. Cooking for fun is like a weird thing to her.
I think David would have some more general cultural question about the Central Empire, like how do they generally I don't know, how did she get from Central Empire to I can defend myself EK? Like how did she gain essentially her self-defense knowledge in the sense? And is that like the core with general Central Empire teachings and the culture there, or how
Her
she got to Empress City?
her family lived in a coastal settlement. Her dad was someone who patrolled the waters in order to watch out for dangers, threats, whatever. Her dad was also outspoken against the local official. Her dad trained her and taught her how to fight and all that. And when things got dangerous, her dad stole a ship and they defected from the Central Empire and made their way into Zemesian lands by boat. She was very young. Well, not very, very young. Maybe like 10 or so when that happened. And they've been living in the city ever since. And she decided that she wanted to protect this city in a sense, like her dad used to protect her old home. She'd also add that Empress City paid her dad a lot of money to answer questions as well, so her dad's looked after by the city.
And just culturally speaking, was her dad teaching her just normal part of how they do in Centron, or do they have, I don't know, a dedicated warrior caste, or how does that work?
They have a military. Generally, the military is specifically made better off and forbidden to talking to the non-military caste of individuals. They're a very stratified society, she would say. There are the people that keep the people in line, and then there is the capital who is getting everything, basically.
Okay, so him teaching Sigrid how to fight was not necessarily forbidden, but looked upon strangely?
So, yeah, technically they were in the, like, strange middle class, in a sense. And him teaching her would have just been seen as him getting her ready to continue the duty of her family, in a sense. Although her dad always said that no matter what, protecting yourself was important and would have taught her no matter what, basically, is the impression you get.
Could you could you repeat that last sentence? I was trying to frame comprehend that in the setting of how would others have seen
normal. So
him training her.
So from an outside perspective, it would have been seen as her dad teaching her to maintain the status quo, but her dad always said everyone has the right to defend themselves and should know how to. So basically, her dad would have done it no matter what.
Okay.
But
okay, I think that likely would have been an amount of time that would have been available for chat during that evening.
I think you would note, Dave, first, she answers quite dark and deep topics with a very blasé tone, like someone who's grown up answering very direct questions and giving very direct answers. But she'll say,
well,
it has been good to eat and good to talk with you. Again, another time would be nice.
Yeah. I mean, we can, assuming we're both in the academy, we can try next week Wednesday again.
And next time we find somewhere where other people are not being nosy. And she just looks at everyone.
At what point did they at some point just give up with the bullshit walking around and just essentially had the doors open, like one head poking out after the other, staring at the...
It depends on the person.
People
people among the group who feel like they are, stealthy and able to get away with it would have kept walking around. Those who were, a bit less. I think Chiruru would be the blatantly obvious one who would have just perched on a sofa nearby, full on facing you guys with like chin on hand, just watching. Like someone watching TV.
I mean, the interesting bit for me would be, given that I vaguely noticed from, off remarks here or there. I don't think Akira shared it with the group at large, but when the topic of Andress came up, she did have a sour mood here or there. So I think Dafer would have been curious whether Andress is also among the noisy people or what he looks like in comparison.
Andress's door remained shut. Andress is the one person who would not have been walking around in that time, so you would not have seen him at all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm actually surprised Caspar would apparently be among that group.
Caspar is one of the ones who is walking
Dafer
around
would have thought better
pretending.
I think before Dafer leaves, he gives a look to Caspar, and just says, Caspar, I expected this from Giroux. I thought better of you.
You do feel that hits her. she does feel shame. You see the shame. But yeah, there's some part of her that just couldn't stop herself, you can tell.
Defiance, I had to know. It was not want to know, it was need to know.
Exactly. Okay, so that's Monday to Wednesday. Thursday morning, there would be, so before club activities, another note left for the group from Axel asking this time for the full class to come to his office that morning.
Okay. I would like to check how much is on the card, by the way.
Negative 19,520 gold pieces.
Christ.
I fucking called it.
Hey, that's still like 480 you can spend.
I almost feel bad,
No, don't.
You're
If
right,
anything, you've helped this man. He can't go further in debt if he doesn't have this card.
What's left to go? You're basically already at that deep end. Might take the next few.
Uh,
Give yourself a load-bearing treat.
Atira, give me an Arcana check as well.
Load bearing treat.
Yeah, load bearing little treat.
Oh my god.
Which one? There's supposed to be, on cards like this, some identifiers to mark who the card is from. Atira, there are none on this card. All of the details about who the debt should belong to or anything like that has been scrubbed. It's just blank.
What would that tell me? Is he making, illegal deals?
Either he's had someone erase his name from it to try and escape paying the debt, or this is someone else's card and the name has been erased to avoid knowing that it shouldn't belong to him in the first place, or it could also be that the card itself is just a tampered with card, so maybe the limit on it was lower or something like that. Like, it could be something else. Whatever it is, Atira, it's not legal.
She's going to hold it, think for a few seconds, spring off her bed, open a door, and stick her head out, call for Caliban. Caliban!
I answer.
You rhyme.
I usher him inside.
I am ushered inside.
Closing the door, I hold up the black card. What do you notice about this?
It's not yours.
Well, yes, that was a given.
I think it was. I think it
That's
was a
not
taken,
news.
actually.
You're gonna tell me anyway, so do tell.
It's completely unmarked.
He just like takes it off of out of her hand and just looks at it.
By the way, he only had 480 gold worth of credit left. What was it you said? 20,000?
Roughly, give or take.
Yeah, he's been spending a lot of money on a card that has been illegally modified. So either it's not his, or he's been doing something, how you say, off the books.
Out of character, this feels like one of those things where one of those buying credit card information off the deep web and just like gluing it onto another credit card.
It could well be that he has a set of blank, like, non-used black crystal cards that he then just falsifies the information onto. That is possible as well, yeah.
What am I able to glean how untraceable that is?
Give me an Arcana check, Caliban.
Yeah, sure thing.
So it would be traceable in a sense that someone can tell it's been tampered with. They might even be able to work out how it's been tampered with, but no one would ever be able to prove who did it without finding the gear that did it, in a sense, right? Like, there's no proof that Bahanir did it, just that Bahanir was in possession of it. And he could be woefully ignorant of what's going on with his credit cards. Hard to believe, I know.
I'm just relaying this information to Adhira. At the very least, I think this credit card is being used to... Somebody would have known that this was tampered with. Anybody, like... any vendor that knows their customer is paying with it. So that would mean that he's using this with the illicit intention that somebody else knows that the card is tampered with. Which means that the person he's doing deals with also might not be exactly doing legal business. And we passed by him, and he wanted to pay with the card. And what was it? 2 people from the Azalea Foundation, and where else?
Licked Co. was the other one.
I don't like this.
So they would know that the card is a dud, or at least fake, but it has real money in it. It's just a matter of where the money is coming from.
Who would trust your uncle with that much money, or who would feel it necessary to put this amount of money in that man's hands?
Well, speaking hypothetically, if I was a criminal, and knowing this guy, knowing my uncle's dead, I would trust him with a 10-foot pole.
I think
It's gotta be somebody that...
one thing that would stand out to the two of you is, at the end of the day, someone's footing the bill for these cards. Like, this number, right, is coming out of someone's bank account somewhere to be, like, fronting it in a sense. Like, because it's at negative 19,000, that last 19,000 gold so far will eventually be charged to someone who's issuing the card, right? So no matter what, someone out there is losing money, or either knowingly or unknowingly paying Bahanir's wine costs, in a sense.
There either has to be somebody that is too rich to notice, or is deliberately funding.
Yeah.
And there's no way to check and find out where else he's used this card.
Not with the information erased like that, no.
She gives a frustrated sigh. I'll hold on to the card for now. Maybe something will come to me, But Caliban, I really don't like that man. At first, he's just an ass. This is something else. I think if we see him again, we just turn the other way and hope he doesn't see us.
He might come to us.
Hopefully not. I think that's all she has to talk about.
Okay. After that, anyone got anything they want to do before you all head to Axel's office that morning?
We're not leaving yet on the train.
No, it's next week.
Normal?
Sorry.
Oh,
you're
okay.
not on a train anyway. You're in the city still, so
It's club day.
it's club day. But
No.
Axel has summoned you.
Club day plus Axel.
What many are saying?
I have been summoned, I hope, in defense mode.
Face down. Get on the floor.
Here, what do you want for the dinosaur?
Arriving at your office, door's closed, but when you get there, he'll obviously, like, anyone who knocks, he'll invite you in. Upon coming inside, he says, I'm meeting with the peacekeeping task force this weekend. I know our missions don't start until the Monday, but I'm hoping you can come with me Saturday. Of course, this
That
isn't
sounds reasonable.
an order. You can say no. I just thought maybe you'd like to meet them.
When
And
do
yours
you
has no
plan on
complaints.
having that meeting?
It would be during the daytime, probably a little afternoon.
How long are you planning on that meeting lasting?
Depends on how much information they have for me. Of course, you can leave at any time you want, Dafer. It's more for introducing you, getting to know people before we start working with each other on an official capacity Monday morning.
Is it somewhere I could quickly get to from the matron's church?
No,
I'm
we'd be
contemplating whether to shift things to Sunday.
heading into
Or not.
the city center, I'm afraid, Dafer.
So, no, in that case, I'll have to push off my visit to the matron on to Sunday, I guess.
And if you want, I'll come with
I
you
think I
Sunday
can make it work.
as recompense.
I'm always short in hands to carry these things. My
Happy to help.
teammates that once were so enthusiastic in helping me carry have since lost interest. Dafer would very, woe is me, look in the direction of Atira.
Ask
I'm just
Caliban. He
staring
needs to
back,
put on
just-
some mess, according to his uncle.
Axel looks at you,
Sorry, I
Caliban.
couldn't quite understand, Clara.
What's up?
Doesn't matter. One-off joke.
Axel looks at you, Caliban, and says, "You ran into your uncle?"
Unfortunately.
No, I was about to ask how that went, but it sounds like I already guessed.
I think 3 different plots to make him disappear happened at once.
raises an eyebrow at you, Caliban. Is it security? Is it a security concern?
He is aware that I am going to the East Academy. Don't let him. Oh, what did you? I heard that. What was that?
Don't let him in.
Yeah, don't. If he becomes a nuisance, I will personally see to it. But I look at it, Kira. Do you think, do you think it's a good time to bring it up?
Might as well. And I flick out and hold the card up between my fingers.
He looks at you, Hira. He looks at the card and he says, "My, I can't believe Bahania dropped his card.
I know it was so clumsy.
What a good citizen you are."
Well, there's more to it than that. We believe that he may be involved in more illicit activities. As a result of the card not being traced back to any benefactors, and it's already well deep in debt.
That's concerning. I'm not sure. Oh, go on.
We were passing by after, and while he was too busy with the conversation, he was digging through, looking for his card, and he was speaking with somebody from the Licht Corporation and Azalea Foundation, and Adhere and I surmised that this was a card that anybody would have been able to deduce was tampered with.
I'm sorry to say I'm not shocked that there's corruption amongst the corporations and the upper echelon. I'm not sure what I can do to assist you, but if there is something, let me know.
I say this with trusting you with the knowledge that Bahamut. Wait, hold on. Trying to remember how his name was pronounced. Bahamut.
Bahania.
Bahamut?
Bahamut?
Bahanier? Or, yeah, whatever. I can't even remember.
I have typos.
It's okay.
Yeah, his, with intentional knowledge that he had sold to ruin the family heirloom. Well, one half family heirloom.
You think that, you think he's maybe not done selling off your family's riches, as it were?
He's made it fairly obvious that he intends to do it more.
Incorrigible. Okay, well.
Very eager.
The best we can do is keep an eye on things. I mean, unless we find some links to the Glowmide, which, I mean, if he's selling artifacts isn't impossible, but until we know for sure, I think this is a separate matter.
Of course. If he turns out to be connected to the Glowmide too, I am going to need therapy. They can't be connected to everything in this city, surely to God.
Why would you speak that into existence? Now the law of irony says they have to be connected to everything in the city.
Then I hope the school has very good therapists.
I think we do.
They do.
Be careful, otherwise the therapist may be connected to the Glowmide.
Oh my god.
An inside man.
They're going to have me in a
Glowmide
padded
all the
room
way
next to
down.
Crescent by the end of this.
He then adds, I'm not sure what to do for your combat practice this week. It is up to you whether you would like to do sparring drills, or I can take us on one of the outer city patrols around the Miasmic Waste border to the city entrance.
I'm fond of spying.
I honestly think we could use... I've seen other teams do some weird coordinate things between various members of them. I
Okay.
think that's something we could copy.
That's something I can prepare for this Friday. Sorry, I've been buried under, and he kind of gestures at the paper in the room. With the extra duties I admit I'm a little behind.
Has the paperwork grown even further since Uther last stepped
No,
in?
Uther would recognize that he got through a good portion. In fact, it looks like he probably hasn't left this room since the last time he talked to Uther.
The tides in the paper war are shifting, is what you're saying.
No.
Is there anything left in the budget to get you an assistant for this?
Unfortunately, everything is being rationed, as you can imagine. We're losing our government funding, and we're having to rely on the Fjordis family and other sources. So, no is the long and short answer.
Would you like one?
Maybe some of this paperwork doesn't exactly need anything more than acknowledging for if there is anything more to go on than just the initial work.
I'm reasonably proficient in legal nonsense regardless.
Are you sure?
Reasonably. Don't get excited.
Are you sure, Clara? This will... I don't want to eat too much of your time. You will have enough on your plate as well.
Well, funnily enough, I don't talk to that many people. So, as long as I can maybe intersperse this with babysitting the slimes, it shouldn't be an issue.
Sure, just don't let the Bernie one next to the paperwork. Otherwise, we're fine.
Besides, I'm sure I'll pick up some tips or information or something.
Glad you will. Anyway, it's taken up enough of your club day. Go. Have fun. That was an order. Please leave my office.
Understandable. See you later.
Yeah, you'll head out.
Alright, off to the Supernatural Club with me. I have things to learn about weird potions.
Have fun?
I mean, I think the more accurate wish would be happy surviving.
Then happy surviving.
Don't die.
Heading
doesn't
to...
seem like the supernatural club type.
Heading to Umi.
Was that directed at me?
That was just like to the group once you would started walking off.
Like,
Dayfra, heading to Umi as you walk in. She is holding a plant pot with like a little stalk coming out of it, and at present she's trying to pull on the stalk to get whatever's in the plant pot out, but she can't quite get there. So she like puts it on the floor and puts her foot on it and uses both hands to pull on it, and it's this tiny little stalk, kind of like about the size of like a thumb, that she's trying to pull out. You can hear, "Come on, get out of the pot."
Umi, hi. Do you want some help with that?
Yes. You grab the stalk, I'll hold the pot.
Alright. Here we go. And I think Dafa would, I mean, like, he's a combat student, so I think by his standard, with one hand, very gently and slowly pull out the stalk, and, like, use his other hand to, like, help her stabilize that pot.
As you try and pull it out, you can't.
That's surprising.
Come on, Dafer,
second.
actually try.
Okay, I give, instead of slowly and deliberately pulling it out, I give, like, test-wise, like a little pull. With a little
Doesn't
bit more
work.
force behind it. That's not a normal plan. Normal plan would have given up by now. What is this?
She raises an eyebrow to you and says, This is embarrassing, Dave. I think you should be able to build this out. Come on.
Daver is suspicious, but now he actually carefully positions two hands on top of that thing and starts pulling up as much as her, I don't know, sitting on the rest of the pot as a counterweight or something, to keep that thing down allows for.
Give me a athletics check.
Okay. Athletics. That's a 13.
Once you put a lot more strength into it, she smiles at you and says, "Release," and then you suddenly fly back as you pull this little tiny plat out of the pot, and dirt and everything goes everywhere as she looks down inside the pot and says, "Well, that works."
I should have known I was something like that. I assume I'm laying on my ass somewhere.
Yeah, holding
4 feet back.
Holding a little red chili pepper thing that was grown in the pot that you kind of got in your hand.
I mean, I look at the chili pepper. Does it look like a normal ass pepper, or is it just a tiny, very, very...
It looks pretty normal
minimal
to you, yeah. What I would say is, looking in the pot as she's holding it, there is a liquid or an ichor, kind of like a purple tar that she's painted on the bottom of the pot that she's messing around with.
Are you experimenting with some sort of arbitrary glue at will kind of thing?
She nods and says, "I call it command solvent. It doesn't roll off the tongue, which you probably shouldn't. It's glue."
What happened to the eternal lime? Eternal lime flavor.
Oh, that's so last week.
Daver gives a little at the mention of her so strongly dismissing a flavor experience. It feels a little bit like a puppy was just kicked in front of Daver.
She looks at you and says, "But that pepper's important. Don't get rid of that."
I mean, that's that one's fine.
You want to help me make a potion today?
Sure. Could we, in general, introduce a little bit more of the basics? I mean, it might be yesterday's experiment for you, but I'm still kind of stuck on the eternal lime flavor. I'm very curious to see if I can make something interesting out of that. So yeah, learning a little bit of the basics to get to that eventually would be nice.
Fine. You do what I tell you to do, but also I'll tell you some other stuff as well. Know which thing's which. That will help.
Deva blinks a couple of times, trying to digest that last sentence before just nodding and going, "Yep,
Okay.
Sure." And then trying to absorb everything he can, asking probing questions when there are connections he thinks there might be, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, give me an Arcana check.
I would like to burn the inspiration I gained last session.
Yeah, give me an Arcana check with advantage.
There. Arcana, was it?
Yes, with advantage, please. Yeah.
Okay, that's an 18.
Yeah, you learn about the idea of what she calls a base, which is a default liquid that is transmuted from one inert form into another inert form. But once something's been transmuted, it's easier to transmute again. So the more times you process something, the more enchantable something is. So you can think of a base as basically like turning water into heavy water back into water to then add the ingredients to create a liquid that's retained some sort of magical property. That's what she would call a base for a potion. She'd also tell you that the things you then add in afterwards are called reagents. They usually involve taking things with a lot of either symbolic meaning or taking bits and pieces from like creatures that have certain powers. You know, the old Eye of Newt and other things. Although Newt eyes are basically useless, she'll tell you. It's basically a poetic thing. But yeah, she'll explain to you how the basic sort of properties work, and then she'll talk about the idea of longevity, what you can put into a potion to infuse it with the conceptual image of longevity, something lasting for a long time. Old people's hair is pretty good, but if you want something that lasts forever, like, no old person has lasted forever, so at best you can make something that lasts like 80 years, which is, you know, effectively forever for some people, and like she'll espouse nonstop.
Good. If you take like salt crystals from a very old mine, wouldn't that also count?
She thinks for a moment and says, that might have more meanings than just the fact it's old, though. Salt is somewhat representative of preservation, that is true. And I guess you could also say wealth, as it is traded. So it might have some unintended other consequences, but it could also increase the length of which the potion's effect does last. And it will make it salty, which for some people is a plus.
The idea of a slightly salted caramel cheesecake is born.
A slightly salted caramel cheesecake
With
that
maybe
makes
long-
you live forever. No.
No, I mean, not necessarily live forever. The core idea,
Yeah, that's
the
the
core
exact
goal
opposite
is to
of
have that
cheesecake.
taste last for like a day.
Yeah, I gotcha. Also, by the time you're done and she's like explaining to you, and also your body's been like puppeted around by her commands, like stir slower, stir faster, stir the top only, take this, ladle this. She hands you a stoppered bottle and says, "Here, this is your cut for the day."
Like, cut?
Yes,
A
well,
cut?
Yes, you cut. You helped make the brew. You can have some of it.
What exactly is it? I
Fire.
have been paying attention, but none of the mixture matches any of the recipes I'm aware.
It's lets you breathe fire, you know, like a dragon.
I think I know a few people in my life that would appreciate being able to breathe fire on someone.
I like it because it lets me cook my food just before I eat it. Convenient. And she puts a couple of bottles in her waistband.
You cook your food by breathing fire on it?
You will too if you try it. Oh, don't spill it anywhere. Do not get it in your eyes. Do not smash the bottle on the ground in direct sunlight.
I can understand the first two. What happens in the last one?
She gets very excited and then says, boom.
Alright, so we got ourselves a grenade now.
Dafer looks around the room to look for obvious signs of explosions or like holes in the wall that were rebuilt or something like that.
What I'll say is the window panes in this room a lot newer than everything else.
Okay. Dafer would take that, would thank Umi, go back to the dorm, and knock on Ativa's door with the fire-breathing potion in hand.
Opens it. Hello, Dafa. Sees.
Hey, Atira.
What is this?
So I think I have a little something. I feel like you maybe might appreciate. Have you ever been so feeling such strong emotions towards somebody that you wish you could incinerate them right where they stand. Or at least have their hair singe a little bit.
Fully felt something like that, but go on.
If you have, I might have a potion for your problem. I wouldn't say a solution, because it's not a solution, it's a potion.
Spending way too much time with
What does
Umi.
this potion do?
Just let's say the result of today's work, not entirely really my creation. My creation will take a couple of days when I get some time back in the kitchen. But I don't know. I don't really have much use of, I don't know, cooking something uncontrollably with this. So I thought, who do I know that would really appreciate being able to let out some fury emotion every now and then? And I don't know. You came to mind.
Thank
If
you.
you don't want it, I will. I think Clara would also appreciate it.
No, I can take it.
Atira, you receive a potion of fire breathing.
Look that up.
Side note, I'm fully in giving with this to her with the intention that if Andres actually fucks up, she can absolutely breathe fire on him.
How warm is this?
The liquid itself does feel somewhat warm. Not like burny hot warm, but like kind of like someone might put a warm object in their pocket during winter to keep their fingers warm, sort of warm.
Okay. She might be walking around
it's also a hand
just
warmer.
holding on to just for constant warmth.
Yeah.
Alright.
I gave it to her for the funsies, and she uses it for practical purposes.
For the warmies. And then...
Why are you like my sister?
Are you saying warmies like a slur?
No, I didn't. Who was going to the fan club? It was Mr. Clara and Caliban this week?
Yes.
Okay.
I will also join.
Oh, it's here as
Oh
well.
my god.
Oh god.
It's so easy to check in on the garden club. Can pass by it on the week, so I have a bit more
Okay.
Thursday, and I figured I'd support my besties club.
Obviously, Mary is there too, and she is sat with like different materials, handing them over to the magma slime to check through them. She's got like copper tubes, tungsten tubes, all these different tubes of metal that she keeps handing to it to see how the heat of the magma slime affects it, and the magma slime just keeps passing the metal over to the ferrous slime to eat. And she's like, no, it's already eaten that one. Look, just hold on. Okay.
We have some work to do, I think.
She nods, scratching her head, looking at the little magma slime as it keeps just handing tubes of metal to the ferrous slime, who's just gorging.
You know,
How
I'm
big is
really
it getting?
interested to see what the new one will become.
It's in the corner. I don't know how long these things are supposed to take to hatch.
Me neither. I had a look, but things like this are ridiculously badly documented. I mean, most people just don't care.
Mistle crouches down next to it and says, "It looks kind of like wires."
Wires?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a conductive slime?
She backs
Maybe
up
this is what
slightly,
you need for your project.
and then she steps forward again. Maybe. Hey there, little slime. You in there? You want to help? She kind of tilts her head in it. Right. Still an egg. Okay.
For now.
tease it.
How are Caliban and Adhira reacting to, I suppose, just the general club?
Caliban.
What all-
Okay, so where are the slimes like enclosed?
They're in like a terrarium.
How big are the slimes?
Right now, the ferro slime is pretty big, having just been fed a lot. It's roughly the size of like, kind of like getting close to beanbag size. Actually, like it's
Oh my
inflated
God.
quite a bit in the corner. Whereas most of the slimes are about the size of a bread bin.
Okay, so pharaoh slime, like metal?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like
Yes.
like liquid, like the literal ferrofluid type stuff.
I'm thinking of the metal
Mhm.
slime things from Elden Ring.
Yeah, that's pretty
Oh.
close.
Okay, so I am gonna focus on that one.
Okay.
Like,
go
is
over to-
there? Okay, so what is? Okay, so what is like? Is it just separated by glass?
Actually, right now, the magma slime and the fire slime would have been taken out of the containers proper by Mary to kind of try different things out. So there's like she's put down like a tarpaulin on the floor and put them on top of it. She's kind of sat cross-legged near them. So it's just like on the ground in front of you, Caliban.
I squat down and look at it.
You just see yourself reflected in it, but it does like start to proboscis and like tap at different objects on you, almost like probingly. It's like, what of you is metal?
Right. Let's see. Okay, this thing eats metal.
It does.
Okay, I'm not
Kind of.
taking out my sword for this.
Neri will take out a little disc of metal, a little iron disc that is used for coding runes and stuff on it. She hands it to you. Try that. I haven't done it yet. It's got some runes carved on it. I wonder if whether that bothers them.
They like hold it out like what? In the same way somebody would hold out a dog treat to
Pseudopods like touch it from different directions. It picks it up. It engulfs it. It like takes a little chomp out of the corner of the disc. And you watch it divide it into constituent parts where each of the runes is on a different section, and then take individual bites out of each of those sections. So it like disassembles it into individual runes rather than being like a set that's on one disc. It also eats around the runes and then leaves the runes behind.
Interesting.
That actually is quite interesting. I should tell Dafer about that.
You think you can just like, I can just like grab like the little rune remains?
I mean, stick your hand in. They don't. Well, none of those are human-eating slimes.
I'll grab the remains.
Yeah, you put your hands into the slime to take the remains out. Caliban, give me a constitution check.
Oh boy. Oh, a check. Okay. Not a saving throw.
No, not a saving throw, just a check.
Yeah.
Caliban, as you pull your hand out, with one of the pieces, a duplicate of your arm made of the ferro slime fluid hands you the next piece. So it like, instead of having a pseudopod, it has your hand that it puts, like, holds out with the piece for you.
It copied my hand.
It copied your hand and arm, yeah, including the clothes shape that you're wearing. So it's like still the ferroflame fluid. It doesn't like made of flesh, but it is in the shape of your hand and clothes.
Caliban, you've made the slimes weird.
Well, I can tell that it has taste. I shake the slime's hand.
It has no idea what it's doing, so like you grab its hand and it just jellies around as you shake it, like this like limp noodle handshake.
There's 1.1. I will build a vast and terrible army of slime Caliban clones.
I don't like this.
It is at this point that the Ferro Slime has reached enough mass, it does split into two smaller Ferro Slimes. Just like, with two identical cores in each one.
Look at them.
And they're sort of back to the bread bin
Caliban's a
size.
dad now.
Let's see. I'm gonna take a... It's already, like, adequately large sticks anywhere, but they're roughly the size of
Like a wooden
Caliban's
stick?
sword. Yeah.
I don't think so, but you could probably find something, like, outside the room to go and grab.
I'll look around.
Yeah, you can go and grab a stick.
Yeah, I'll grab a stick. Roughly the size of Caliban's sword.
Okay. You come back with a stick the size of a sword, as everyone is desired to do.
So, do I know, like, does Caliban know how these things see?
I don't think you would, no. I actually don't know if Clara knows how they quote-unquote see.
Nah, not in so much detail, I don't think.
I'll place one of the tip of the sticks. A tip of the stick on top of the slime.
Yeah, it like pseudopods out to explore the stick. It tries to take the stick from you and hand it to the the material slime, the fabric slime. There we go. Yep.
Yeah, I'll let him take it.
Hands it over. The fabric slime has like a piece of it, and the fabric slime doesn't seem to be interested, so hands it to the magma slime, and it promptly ignites.
Well,
once the stick is on fire, the magma slime does consume it in its entirety.
I don't know what I expected.
Sorry, can I inquire as to what purpose you knighted my slime for?
First slime.
Slime.
First of his name.
First of his
First
nine.
is nine.
First of his name.
First of his name. Wanted to see if it could replicate like me holding a stick. And then I wanted to fence with it.
I wanted to teach the slime sword play as such a Caliban.
I wanted to teach the slime to fight.
I want to fence with it.
I want to teach it violence.
Please unviolence the slime. You don't seem to understand. I'm working against a presumed nature here. Please don't ruin all of my work by encouraging the slimes to be violent.
Okay, you're trying to fucking hold on. I'm trying to word it.
Program?
You're trying to deprogram senseless chaotic violence. I am simply reintegrating careful, concise, planned violence.
Okay. You chose your words very carefully there, meaning there's nothing I can individually dispute. But I think we both know that's not quite true.
Look, can you teach this? Can you? And Caliban just like both fingers, index fingers pointing at her. Can you instill a sense of honor in the slimes?
I'm working on it.
That's what I'm trying to do.
As the two
We
of
have
you...
instilled them with a sense of community. Watch. Ladies, it's time to pillar. And she's just gonna, like, pillar.
As you turn and you pillar and all the other slimes pillar, you hear a mistle eek as the slime casing on the egg cracks. and a little voltaic slime does emerge. Lightning kind of zapping across the surface of it. It's a clear liquid with copper flecks throughout the, like a little copper spots drifting around inside of it, does emerge.
Is it like
He's adorable.
embaric slime?
No, it looks more like
Voltaic.
it's voltaic, but like instead of the lightning coming from like amber, it's literally using like the differential between different pieces of copper to generate electricity. It's like moving copper around in its own body to create a circuit that then suddenly zips, and like a ring of lightning kind of circles around it. Pop rock is pretty cool.
I've been trying to find a name that the pink slime would like. I will say, through a knowledge of gemstones, there is a pink gemstone called Morganite.
Morg's the slime.
Morg's the slime. Well, it doesn't violently attack you, I'll put it that way.
I observe the slime with Clara.
The slimes do all pillar, including to the new one, who then immediately pillars.
That's incredible.
See, honor is a difficult concept to teach, but community, these slimes, you know, we all know that that's how we say hello. So, we pillar.
The ferroslime that has been up until this point consuming every piece of metal now begins moving pieces of metal towards the voltaic slime, who starts sorting through them themselves.
I'm so proud of them.
They do, in fact, share.
I want to touch the slime.
Which one?
The voltaic slime.
Give me a constitution check.
Okay.
That one.
I do not expect to get a good, I do not expect to get as lucky of a roll.
13.
Yeah, that's good enough.
You touch the slime, you're expecting some big shock or something like that. From your point of view, Caliban, nothing happens. From everyone else's point of view, Caliban, as you touch the slime, has anyone ever done one of those experiments where you put your hand on the, like, Tesla dome, where it's, is it a Vander or something machine?
It's a Van de Graaff.
Van de Graaff, thank you. Yeah, that's it. Caliban's hair all just raises into the air equidistant apart. It's like a huge plume of beautiful silver hair, all equally spaced, as Caliban looks down at this slime, like somewhat
I bet he looks
Super
more southern than
Saiyan-ish.
That's
They're doing its mating dance.
a look.
And this is to go even further beyond.
Mr. looks at that and says, "Oh, that would indicate a high amount of passive charge."
He's a big, strong boy.
Mr.
5
considers.
minutes old.
Mr. considers those words, but simply nods. She does not affirm verbally.
He's talking about the slimes, right?
Well, obviously, Caliban.
I'm not talking about you.
You're a
He
gentleman.
He lets go, and then, like, his hair, I guess, is just, like,
Drifts
slowly
back
drifts
down.
I
Yeah.
think. So what happens if somebody else touches the slime? Because I didn't feel anything.
Mr. reaches
Yeah, I was
towards.
gonna say.
Mr. reaches towards,
Oh, yeah, that makes
like kind of instinctively, does get zapped. Ow! Wait, what was I expecting?
Well, I got shocked and you didn't. That's
What?
weird.
No, I did get shocked and you didn't.
Other way
Oh,
round.
okay. Oh, you got shocked and I didn't. My bad.
Yeah. Hmm.
I want to try.
Itira, give me a constitution check.
Oh.
Where are you?
You are, in fact. It's like, it doesn't damage you, it's a shock, right? Like, in the sense of, like, it's the noise and the sensation and the physical reaction. It isn't, like, painful in a sense, Atira. Or, you know, like when you bump into something and you say ow, but it didn't hurt? It's got that sort of,
Yeah.
like, impact to it. Your hand pulls away, but it's more instinctual than anything. Mistle looks at you and says, Clara, maybe you should try.
Clara's gonna kneel down. Okay, little guy. If you could not shock, no zap, that would be great. And she's gonna like preemptively wince, but leave a finger there for it.
As you're saying something, the ferro slime reaches towards the voltaic slime, and the two of them touch Bruscus's. As you touch the voltaic slime, no shock happens whatsoever, Clara. The light, or the copper inside of it seems to disperse into like equidistant pieces rather than being any sort of combined circuit or anything like that.
They're grounding each other. Well, I think if anything, this does prove that there's potential applications for your project, Mister.
And in the corner, you just hear Mary going, see, look, they're busy. Why don't you hold this one? It's just like handing a piece of metal to the magma slime again. She would sit back for a second as it doesn't seem interested, and she goes, I wonder, what about something like quartz or crystals that might form in volcanic areas? Maybe we'd be more interested in that.
Would I know any?
Yeah, as a laments, oh god, what's the word I'm looking for? Citizen isn't it? Denizen? Native, thank you. I think that's probably a good way of doing it. As a laments native, yeah, you absolutely would.
I could probably go back to that little corner, see if there are any shops that might sell it. It becomes popular in our jewelry.
Oh.
I think she meant for a name, Atira, not like the actual rock.
Oh.
Well, both works. If a material could capacitate some heat that this magma slime might be interested in, that would help me out a lot. And also, I think quartz is a pretty name.
What did she choose?
I said quartz, but I mean, I'm not.
Quartz? No, quartz is good.
Also, she looks at you here and says, if you do go to a store for gemstones, can I come along?
Of course.
Perfect. It's not something we can really source in the workshop. Metals, sure.
Yeah, who provides on the local rotation? Like, sort of both in character and out of character, often supplies of, restocks of supplies and where from?
So the stockpiles come into the, like, it depends on what you're talking about. There's the general store where all the students can go to pick up food and other basic supplies. It's subsidized. Or there's the workshop which gets certain things stocked up every day, but also they can requisition things with the teachers that they have in the workshops as well. She's talking about the fact that she could easily go to her instructor and be like, I need 12 ingots of copper. But if she was like, I'd like huge blocks of quartz, they'd be like, why? So it's not that she couldn't get it, it's just it's not a standard thing for them, which creates a lot more work.
Okay.
Uther, what were you doing with your club day?
Well, I want to get copies of the group picture for one, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily club necessary.
Not necessarily, but the club day, you don't technically have to use it for clubs. It's just very heavily encouraged that you do. But If you wanted to just go to the
Uh,
workshop and take a fabricate crystal to make copies of the picture, you can.
I'll probably do that, but I'm also going to try to use some of the paint rune stuff with some pottery.
Mm-hmm. Anything in particular you're trying to do?
Yeah, be trying the purify food and drink on just a small cup, just to see how well it works.
Yeah, I don't think you need to roll for that. It's one of the oldest uses of runes in the book. I mean, obviously, the old ones, they used to just put it into the pottery rather than marking it, so this is slightly different. But yeah, you managed to, just a cup, yeah? You make like a cup and then put the runes on it?
Yeah, just a cup. I'm probably going to like put one of the engrave one of the runes to make it harder to break, and then just like have painted somewhere on the I guess on the bottom for the purify.
Yeah. Technically, you could pour the water you use to clean your brush off into this cup and drink it, and it would just be normal water once it's passed by, into the cup. So, yeah, you could drink your cleaning water, and it would be fine from this cup. How many copies of the picture did you want to make as well?
2. I'm going to send them back home.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to include in that message anything about what you discussed with Axel, or do you want to send like a separate letter for that, or?
No, one letter is going to be to his dad, one letter is going to be to his uncle, and yeah, he'll throw the picture in with the letter just so it looks like a standard just letter home. See, look, I'm making friends. They don't hate me.
So to your dad, you send a picture and like a normal summary of what's going on.
Yeah, just normal summary how it's going.
And to your uncle, you want to send the picture and a coded message about what you talked to Axel about, as well as how things are going as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you're able to sit down. I think that would take a while because you'd have to like come up with how you want to encode it and do all that sort of bit. That would take a what I'll say is give me an Arcana check as well, because you have a little bit of time left over, and if you wanted to try and finish the runes off, you could.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah, Uther, having had some practical experience with it and having a little bit more time with it, I would say that finishes that off as well. So I've got a couple of things to look at. I've got to look at some rules for the thread and the final choice I want to give you for the paint runes as well.
For the sake of Uther's ongoing paranoia of leaving runes unattended, drawing the paint runes in another substance will not have a risk of them triggering, yeah?
Depending on the rune itself, but no. Like, on a basic sense, absolutely not. No, it won't.
I think if he was to then proceed to start making notes that were shareable with the group, he is going to do the standard thing of there is always a break in the rune somewhere then, just in case.
Yeah, do you want to, like, put it on your group, like, crystal tablets, or do you want to just, like, actually physically write it down with, like, pencil?
Would it be easily searchable for the group on the tablets, or would it just look like an unholy mess of scribbles?
You could create, like, a specific, like, message chain purely for notes on that, basically. So, like, you couldn't just inject it into the middle of your general conversations, but you could start a new conversation and only have that stuff in it. Yeah.
Then yeah, I think I'll do that. Then.
Okay. Yeah, done.
Everyone's tablets just start blowing up.
Yeah, as it starts filling with notes of painted symbols and stuff. I guess, Clara, that would probably be of most interest to you as you see the fruit of Uther and a little bit of Dayfur's help as well. A series of runes that you can paint now to affect the world.
Nice. I will make a note of that mentally for myself later. For now, slimes.
Yeah, is there anything else people want to do that Thursday? I think we'll finish off with this Thursday, so we'll go into the combat practice stuff next session. So I guess, is there anything people want to do before we close up and finish things? No? Well, I mean, I think we went through everyone's club activities anyway, so yeah. Cool. We'll end it there, and we'll pick up next week with a fight of some description. Done?
The fight against our souls.
I think the fight against coordination, or with coordination, could be both.
Fight for
Against coordination. Always against.